Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott, and we are here for another watch-along for a European show. Quite exciting, of course. We've got Bologna tonight. Italy is the host for tonight's SmackDown. So we're going to break it down the card in a moment, and we're going to have a watch-along experience right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, once again, welcome back to the channel, guys. We are here for the SmackDown watch-along, and we're about 14 minutes away from the show actually starting. So if you're watching live, well, you know when it is. Well, it's 30 minutes now. If you're watching on demand, then you, feel free to skip forwards by 13 minutes and line up the show, essentially. It's going to be an exciting one. It is going to be a time where we see Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk face to face, hopefully, at least. Now, of course, the big story coming out of WWE this week is John Cena's heel turn, and what we saw on Raw, actually, as far as his kind of first heel promo. So what we're going to do now is throw over to a little clip from my instant reaction review where we were talking about John Cena. John Cena came out, and, you know, he did the kind of typical heel promo of, like, you don't deserve me, and you have always been bad to me, and I got where he was coming from. It was the, you know, the kind of anti-Cena chants and stuff like that. So I thought that was clever to play into that. But then I think they've gone kind of almost too far the other way of, like, I won't give you what you want, because I think because he had come out recently in a Chris Van Vliet interview about a year or so ago now, saying, look, I was going to turn heel. It's going to be new music. It was going to be get rid of the jorts. I was going to be a different kind of character. It would have been completely different to what you know from John Cena. I think everybody expected that this time around. And because that's out in the kind of open now, I feel like he's decided to go the other way and be like, no, I'm still John Cena, but you are the problem. And that's what you get a lot of times when people turn heel. Because it's such a monumental heel turn, it felt like, no, it wouldn't be. It'd be a complete change of his character. Now, don't get me wrong. There were still things about tonight's presentation that were different to what we're used to seeing from John Cena. But for the most part, the story he's told was, you guys have bullied me into being this, and it's all take, and, you know, what can I get out of it? Which, again, is an age-old story that heels will tell. But it wasn't what I expect. And while I do respect them trying something different, I have to be honest, I did feel a little disappointed that it wasn't what I wanted it to be. But I think, again, that's on purpose. It's to make us, even the people that wanted to like him as a cool heel, go, no, I'm a heel to you. Like, he's actually annoyed people tonight by not doing those things. I mean, what were your thoughts on the way it was presented and the kind of, I guess, promo that John Cena gave?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of those things that we have to unpack quite a lot of. But I think Michael Cole's reaction actually to it helped me a lot better than actually the segment. I think Michael Cole kind of painting this picture that obviously John Cena for 20 years, you know, he's had everyone kind of on his side, and then Corey Graves even slipping in, oh, we're getting like the real John Cena now, you know, and it's that kind of that realization to someone like a Michael Cole and how angry he got about it actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Made it, you know, made it go, oh, you know, this is the thing. I think they're towing that line between, okay, you know, lots of things on this thing are predetermined, but like that, this is real, like this is legit. I think that's where they're kind of going with it. I feel that I don't know whether they're going to do something. I think next week's segment will determine it more than this week's in a weird way. I think next week's segment, they have the chance to obviously get the feedback from tonight. Yeah. But they also have the chance to kind of go, okay, this is the proper direction we want to go in. I think that, you know, Cena was it felt like he was kind of covering a lot of, in a weird way, I kind of think he said too much. I think this might be the problem.
Yeah.
I think if he had, the thing is, I thought, and I texted my friend this, I said he's doing Jericho 2012. You know, when he dropped the mic and then he left or went to leave and he picks back up and he dropped it again.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I think that might have been better than what we got, because it kind of, he said too much.
It went on for long, didn't it? And I get the point they were making, but it's almost like in some ways nothing happened, you know. So it's kind of, because Cody come out and basically was, you know, a good picture of like, I'm everything you said you were, and I am that guy now. You know, John Cena tried to little bro him, as they say, you know, said, look, kid, and he's like, look, ain't kid, you know. So I like that kind of interaction between the two characters, and the kind of difference between what Cody now is, what Cena once was. But it weren't earth shattering, was it? I think it. Yeah, look, we can say, oh, look, he played us. He made. Oh, you're not getting the theme song. You're not getting a new look. But at the same time, I also weren't that entertained. Like, I enjoyed it and I got it, but like, I did want more. And it's like, I don't know, like. There was part of me thinking, oh, he'll do this stuff in future, then he'll change this stuff in future, because we've now just got Cody going, and again, the age-old thing of, I want the real John Cena, like I want the old Stone Cold, you know, one of those kind of things. It felt like we've seen this story a lot of times before, but what's Cena going to do? Just be a bit more perky now going forward, or just, you can't now have a new look and a new theme song, because he's already said, like, they've chose the direction, which is I'm not doing it, and like, you can buy my merch, but you know, I don't dress like you, you dress like me. Like, the other way around. Like, you know, whatever it was like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just like, obviously people's heads have been in fantasy booker mode, haven't they, since it's happened? It's been obviously just over 2 weeks, obviously, since Chamber. Since been off TV since then, and all we've done is replay the footage over and over and over again, you know, since then. But I do think that, I do think that, you know, somewhat decisions had been made and they've gone the way they've gone. I think next week's segment, though, and it really should, because next week we are going to be within a month of WrestleMania taking place. I think next week's segment needs to basically determine the direction of fully where we're going with the story, because at the moment, I think what's upsetting is that, look, if it is going to be a rehash of stories like this we've seen before, when someone's going to turn and then they've done the whole blaming the fans and blah blah, like, we have seen that. And don't get me wrong, the caliber of the performers, you know, Cody Rhodes and John Cena, are able to tell that story. I think the problem is, from a fan perspective, this kind of once in a lifetime kind of level of turn deserves something more than the generic 100%. What we've seen before. Yeah. And at the moment, it's going down that route. And don't get me wrong, it'll be a good version of that route because of the people involved. But I think we can just do a bit better here. We had the chance to something really groundbreaking. Like I said, he hadn't mentioned, obviously, The Rock and Travis Scott. And then I think as well, like, you know, as it kind of went on as well, you're just thinking, okay, but, you know, how is this going to impact the feud we're going to see? I think we haven't really got that just yet. And you could argue, like, them doing this as on the European tour and not in front of the American audience potentially has all of this a little bit. That was the other problem I had with we fast forward to Seth Rollins' promo. Like, he's talking and doing his promo as if there's an American audience there, where, you know, the stuff that he's saying is meant to matter, but it's a European crowd and it's a bit different.
I do feel like, credit where it's due, it actually worked better than I thought it would, because that was my big fear going into it. I was like, how has Cena not had his first ever, this monumental promo in front of an American audience? Not saying, oh, they deserve it more or whatever else, but like, that's their base, that's their ground level. My big fear was they were going to come to Europe and people would go, I'm happy to see Cena's farewell tour, which they've been promoting anyway. They got the merch for it and all that. He still wore it, by the way, which is funny. But then B, in Europe, we tend to be a bit like Canada, of like, we love the bad guy, you know, and like, cool bad guy. So I thought but to be fair to the fans in Brussels, they played their part. They did the John Cena sucks, but louder than we've maybe ever heard it before, because that became like the "you suck" chant. It became a kind of endearing chant, really. You know, they played it, he played into it, whatever. This time it's very different. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So I don't think that was as much as an issue as it could have been. It was more that So I think this is the same promo we would have got in America essentially, but there wasn't enough substance for it. Like you say, it was a monumental change, heel turn, I should say. A big moment. It'd be interesting to go back and watch Hogan's first appearance post NWO. I've seen a lot of the early stuff, but I can't quite pinpoint what the first heel Hogan promo was. It'd be interesting to maybe compare the two, because of course that's the feud, the storyline I should say, in the heel turn that this is getting compared to the most. We'll see, if this is on that level come a few months from here. But at the moment, I've got to be honest, tonight didn't deliver as much as I wanted. I liked it. I'm intrigued, which is maybe all you need.
With the Hogan thing, is obviously he...
Go ahead, sorry, cut out a bit there.
Yeah, I was saying, like, with the Hogan thing, obviously he established himself with the NWO like straight away. And I think that helped because it got you the answer. Because I think obviously the minute someone turns on someone, there's always the why, and they're very quickly followed by like, okay, what's next? Like, is it going to be a turn that they're then going to have set up a match? Is it going to be a turn that's then going to escalate one of the people to have another match with someone else? You got to ask the thing. And Hogan very quickly, he did it where he did a turn and straight away established, we are the NWO. This is why we're here. We're taking over. And so the goal was very, very simple. He wanted to become world champion. And so that goal was already kind of there. Don't get me wrong, Cena's goal was kind of there, I guess. He still wants to be WWE champion. I think in the last kind of 30 years... I'm sorry?
He barely even said that. Like, that's what I thought this was going to be. I did it because I need that title. He did more of that when he was still technically a babyface than he did on this program.
Yeah, I agree. There wasn't enough... Yeah, I think... He spoke a lot about stuff, but not about the stuff that people actually wanted to speak about, which maybe is what we're going to get next week. And again, I don't think it's solely because of the location, but the location maybe has, and the fact, I guess with respect, if he's looking at the fact he's now got to do 3 weeks of TV in a row, maybe they're thinking, okay, we've got to split things up over those 3 weeks, because with respect, he's probably not going to wrestle in any of these 3 TV shows. So it's a case of, but I would have just kept this promo a bit shorter, particularly because you had the heat like built in already, so there was no need to overly speak. But I think in a weird way, by speaking so much, he's kind of cost himself like a little bit. Though I do maintain that once Cody got going, and said his piece, and then that last kind of final shot and walk up the ramp, I think that was quite powerful.
All right, so those were our thoughts on Raw the other night. Of course, a big moment when we saw the first ever, well, not first ever, I should say, first heel promo recently. It was a heel back in the day, John Cena, of course, but it's the first one we've seen for a long time. We are here for the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling SmackDown watch along tonight, though. So we are about to get started on Friday night SmackDown. Thankfully, it's at a reasonable time for us. Again, this European tour is fantastic for us living on this side of the pond. Just getting my Netflix loaded up. For those watching live, well, you'll know the show starts in about a minute's time. For those watching on demand, there you go. There's your cue as well. We are very close to the show actually starting here, and hopefully soon going to be joined by more members of the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling crew throughout the night as well. But SmackDown officially looks to be underway in about 10 seconds time. We're going to be your play-by-play analysis for everything that goes down on the show. And again, as we did with last week's show and with Raw this past Monday, we'll have a few fun conversations on the way, I'm sure. Especially with those in the comments. We've got Gary in the house that says, looking forward to tonight's show, mate. Yeah, me too, Gary. Good to have you on board once again. Really looking forward to it. Casper says, good evening, guys. What time is the start time on Netflix's show for SmackDown? It's just starting now, Casper. So get your Netflix ready, mate. We are about to get locked in. Again, appreciate if you're watching in the States, unless you're watching on a VPN, you might have to wait a few hours. But hey, if you want to hear our kind of instant thoughts on what's going on right now, then stay tuned. And if you want to watch us alongside the show itself, then we're here for you as a watch-along play-by-play experience as well. The main signatures just started, then now forever. And I always forget the last one. Together. Why do I always forget that? But the show is pretty much getting underway now. We are here for a big night from Bologna. I think I missed my mouth there, guys. Ignore that. Don't use that as a clip. Gary said, got my spag bowl on time. I thought about having a bolognese as well, mate. I got to be honest. Once again, starting out with these lovely aerial shots of the city they're in. This time, as I say, is Bologna, Italy. $29 days of... Is he talking about WrestleMania? Are we 29 days away from it? That feels about right. Yeah, it's like 80th, 90th or something, isn't it? So we're seeing the fans on the outside of the venue. Here we go inside, though. Big reaction. I'm sure they are going to be on fire, just as they were in Barcelona, just as they were in Brussels. Now, Bologna, all the Bs, eh? Triple B. It's a shame we're breaking out with Glasgow next week. Although I'm glad those in Glasgow are going to get to experience a live show as well. Jade Cargill being shown backstage. Of course, she's facing Liv Morgan tonight. And speaking of the devil, here she is with Raquel Rodriguez. Look good, didn't it, Garrett? This is the thing about these shows. It makes you want to go there, right? It makes you want to go visit some of these spaces. I think it's great that they do these live shows. We've been saying it on the past few watch-alongs, but it's always been good having the live event house shows at these spaces. But to have TV shows, why not? Just turn the cameras on, basically. I'm sure it's a little bit harder than that, don't get me wrong, but great to see these cities getting TV shows. It did, man. It did look good indeed. Speaking of looking good, CM Punk's looking good, looking fresh backstage on his way into the venue. How are we starting this monumental SmackDown? The fans seem ready. Oh, Randy Orton. You know we're getting a sing-along, and you know, therefore, goosebumps are coming. Casper says, I think there should be 2 Raws and SmackDown a night, lol, on this time to get more people on the shows. Yeah, again, so good for us to be able to watch it at a reasonable time, especially if you're here with us in Europe, of course. Randy, let's go, says Gary. Here he comes. And as expected, the audience are singing along. Let me turn my volume up. I want to hear this. I love it for Orton as well. What a great buzz this must be. Especially, again, I keep saying it, in a latter half of your career. Soak these moments up, man. Great close-up shots of the fans singing to the camera now. Gary, you're right, man. They are good. They're loud. At first, I was like, are they as loud as Barcelona? And then the chorus hit, and I thought, you know what? They are. They don't do that live and loud. Remember, they kept doing that a little while ago for the European shows, for the PLEs. They were like that register of how loud it was. They haven't done that for a little while. This is where you'd expect they would, because people are mad for it. Casper says, love Randy Orton. Big love for Randy Orton. Yeah, 100%. Let's just enjoy while we've got him, you know. I do think, though, guys, I do think he's going to turn heel eventually. I actually felt he'd turn on Cody. But everyone turns on Cody these days. Showing the replay from last week, of course, with Carmelo not taking his loss in the respectable way. Randy Orton hit him with an RKO and goes to the punt. Of course, he's pulled out by Kevin Owens. I think he's going to hit that punt on Kevin, if not just before Mania, at Mania itself. And guys, if you haven't seen already, if you get some time after this stream, feel free to go back and watch our review of last week's SmackDown as well as our review of Monday Night Raw. You saw a clip earlier on before SmackDown started of us talking about John Cena's heel promo. We've got a lot more to say than what you saw just there as well, guys. So if you haven't already, check that video out. But we are tuned in now for Friday Night SmackDown. And again, feels weird to say, at a reasonable time. For me, at least. Oh, nice. So they did the old, oh, as if he was taking a goal kick. Arms went a bit awkward when he leant down, slowed it down a bit, but nice. That's what I like. I like seeing these different kind of chants and fan reactions when you go to different cities. Obviously, all the European countries tend to lean towards football chants and stuff like that, but always good to see. So what's Randy doing here? Trying to get the card up, actually, see what we're expecting from Randy. Is he in a scheduled match? Still singing. Throwing the mic up as well. He's loving it. Casper says, looking forward to Cody and John Cena in Scotland on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, it's going to be a good show. Looking forward to that. Again, we'll be here for that one as well. But man, there's a lot to answer for, right? When we look at last week's Raw, as much as I think we enjoyed it, there was certainly a lot of things that they left untouched. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Whoa! Not even a chance to talk. Here comes Kevin Owens. Why did I sound Welsh when I said that? Kevin Owens. It's an Italian show, not a Welsh show. KO's got something important, he says. Let's see. KO says he was wrong. All right, so saying he was wrong for attacking him and hitting him with a power drive. He didn't deserve it, but Cody deserved everything he did to him. But look at that guy in the audience with the mask. Isn't that funky? Looks a bit like old school Corey Taylor, that, doesn't it? Don't trust him, Randy. I don't think he will, mate. Kevin's got a point. He's basically saying, look, I still, want to do what I want to do to Cody, but my anger got in the way and I've done things to Randy and I do regret it. Obviously, he's trying to get out of the match at Mania, right? And Randy's not going to accept this. I've seen Randy play on this before and be like, look, the difference is, I wanted something. I had a goal back then and I was a young punk. I don't think Randy's forgiving you, Kevin. Yeah, it was a weird mask, wasn't it, Gary? I don't know what it was. It looked a bit like, a bit like an old Corey Taylor mask or something like that. So Kevin says he's trying to save Randy, protect him from himself, because he don't want him to hit the punt on Carmelo. Everybody wants to see that, Kevin. I think we are certainly locked in for these two guys, right? It's going to be these two at WrestleMania. There we go. WrestleMania, right on cue, just as I mentioned it. So what's he suggesting then? Because he looks like he's trying to get out of this match. Tag team. Is he going to say that again? He wants to team with him again. Kevin wants to go after the tag titles. He's got a point. They were close. They should have become tag champs, but it didn't happen. I like this. I like to give him twisting it and turning it on the kind of Randy being like, no, I want you now. You can't get away with what you've done. Our friendship's over, you know, that sort of thing. Let's see what he says. Well, he says what I should do is come down and beat you up, basically. KO did say he was wrong, as Kevin says, as Randy says. Ooh, strong words from Randy Orton. Says you can take your apology and stick it. A Roberto Baggio reference. Did not expect that, guys. Love it. We're back in 1994, baby. Wow, some good lines there. It used to be fight Owens fight, you're now bitch Owens bitch. But yeah, Roberto Baggio reference. Gary says, you know what, Scott? Best tag team, in my opinion, Y2J and Owens, the stupid Leslie. Yeah, the list was good, wasn't it? It's a shame that that feud kind of faded. Didn't end up being as big as it should have been at the end. Randy Orton playing off his theme song there. Telling us all the lyrics. Yeah, the whole feud is based on the punt. He's just said, look, at Vegas, I'm going to kick your head off your freaking shoulder. Okay. But it makes sense. You know, a bad guy, Kevin Owens, trying to get out of the match like this. So, yeah, we've basically got a match announced, right? That was it. There is a match announced officially for WrestleMania. I mean, it looks like we know the card, right? Myself and Lucas were talking about this the other day on the Raw instant reaction review. But we do need to start getting them telling us for sure. If that, what do you mean? If that gets made, just say someone's told you it's official. Get on with it. I mean, I'm sure it'll come through this show, but we need this card nailed down. All right, we're seeing clips now from last week in Barcelona, where Drew attacked Damian Priest. Casper says, "I miss Mr. Kennedy and Alberto Del Rio. Ryback thoughts on both guys." Yeah, Mr. Kennedy. I was a big fan of Mr. Kennedy. I think he was a really interesting character at a time where I was losing a bit of passion for WWE around that time. I feel like there was some good stuff looking back, but Mr. Kennedy is one of the things I most enjoyed, basically. And the same thing, actually, Del Rio and Ryback, both those eras. I know some people like to crap on those two, and you know what, all three of them, if I'm honest, they do get a bit of a bad rep these days, but I actually enjoyed all three of those guys. So I'm glad you brought them up, Casper. Maybe that's a conversation for another day about how those three guys do kind of link. They are quite similar in a way because they were all massively over at the time, both as heels and baby faces. Surprised Ryback never won the title. Del Rio had a massive push, of course. He won the 40-man Royal Rumble, which I was a bit annoyed about them doing that weird Royal Rumble. And Mr. Kennedy, of course, won the Money in the Bank and had to give it up. But yeah, big fans of their work. At the time, I felt like all three of them were the future. Now, again, things have changed and personal things and whatever else and injuries. And, you know, there's a whole list of reasons why those three aren't, I guess, seen as faces the company or anything like that. But I think credit where it's due. All three of them had a good period. And there were just other things that maybe got in the way, essentially. But yeah, I enjoyed all of their work, essentially. So yeah, what a cool list, Casper. I appreciate that. Gary says, "Oh darn, England's on it tonight. Is an important game." Oh yeah, you're right. England are playing. It's our first game with Thomas Tuchel in charge. So it's only a friendly. No, it's a World Cup qualifier. But I really did want to watch it to see what the England team were going to play like for the first time under a new manager. But here we are. We are talking wrestling instead of not that. I'm not happy about that, guys. Again, I'm so appreciative of the fact that we do have these shows at a reasonable time and we can do these extra kind of pieces of content surrounding it. And thank you all for joining me, whether you're live or on demand, whether you're commenting or lurking in the background. We appreciate you. We're on a break at the moment, guys. We're seeing an ad for 2K25. Just an update from the previous streams. I've still not played any WWE game recently. All right, so we get the 2.5-minute warning now that we'll be right back. So just superstar kind of clips at the moment. And if you're watching around the world, you may just be watching regular ads. But yeah, if we do get any of those ad breaks where the match continues and you are watching in a territory where you don't see the continuation of the match, or you're watching on demand where I know they cut that out sometimes, then I'll fill you in and let you know what's going on. But we're 2 minutes away now. We're basically just seeing wrestlers pose, so you're not missing anything just yet. Casper says they missed Hughes right back. That's why he left. And here we are, says Gary. Yeah, missing the England game. I'll try. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and stick it on another screen or something like that. But yeah, no, either way, happy to be here. Hopefully England do the business tonight. I don't think it's a match we should be losing, but it'd be interesting to see how we play, essentially. But hey, let's keep away from the football talk too much. We've got the Rebellious Noise football channel for that, but you're here tuned into the Rebellious Noise pro wrestling channel. And as it sounds, it's where the Rebellious Noise crew talk pro wrestling. We talk shows like this, watch-alongs. We do classic watch-alongs such as SummerSlam from 2003, SummerSlam from 2013, just to name a few. We've also had the opportunity to interview the likes of LA Knight and Santos Escobar in the past. So if you haven't already, please subscribe because you'll get more content like that coming your way in the near future. If you dig further into our archives, you can also see watch-alongs to shows like ECW One Night Stand. We don't often do these kind of modern watch-alongs, or current, I should say. We tend to do old school shows, but where we can, we'll try and slot them in. Again, we're here for a reasonable time, so we'll do a watch-along tonight and for all the European shows, essentially. We also had great opportunities in the past to interview the likes of Big E and Damian Priest, of course, who is up next. There he is with the old, with a US title round his shoulders at the time. And since we're getting to WrestleMania season, why not check our video out on Rey Mysterio's Hall of Fame worthy career? We broke it down, well, Rob did, I should say, in detail as to why he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Not that anyone's denying he should be in the Hall of Fame, but it's a really interesting video from Rob to kind of break down what led to that. Casper says, pretty deadly faces now. Did they turn face? No, I haven't seen any suggestions say their face. But they are getting thrown into this big tag feud, right? It's like 5 of them, as we spoke about in last week's SmackDown. And you heard Aleister Black is on his way back to WWE. Is that true? Look, I've heard similar. Is it true? I don't know. I hope so. I'd imagine so. And if he does, he's got to have his old theme song, hasn't he? That is the returning. Just to hear that guitar, the beginning. Oh, that'd be the goosebumps if I hear that song. Big fan of Aleister Black's old entrance. Speaking of being a fan of an entrance, we've jumped straight into it here. But Nakamura is making his way to the ring, who again has a great new version of his entrance. And I won't tread over old ground too much. If you've been watching me for a while, you know exactly how I feel about Nakamura. Big fan of the guy. Wish he'd won a world title. Hasn't done that. Was upset with the thought of him winning the US because I felt like they'd just disregard him. And then when he won it with a new character, I thought, wow, this will be something new, actually. You know what? Maybe it's a new regime. Maybe the US title is going to mean a bit more, and this character change is going to help that. And he's lost it already. Don't get me wrong. I think LA Knight coming out with a big old pop with that title was a good thing as well, but I don't know why they took it off at LA Knight in the first place. All right, so Nakamura is out in the ring, ready for the first match of the evening. And guys, want to know your comments and thoughts essentially throughout the night. What do you think is going to happen tonight? What are the things you're most looking forward to? I think the CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns situation is probably the most kind of exciting story going into this show. Big cheer for Drew McIntyre there. And they're even humming along to his song. You don't get that much for Drew's song that much. So, fair enough. These fans are well behind it. I did see a cool video of Drew and Chelsea Green being given Italian football shirts. Drew was excited to put his on straight away. So that might be playing into why the fans are so happy to cheer for him. Although Damian Priest not as happy, running straight after him, blow for blow in the middle of the aisle. Why is this a match tonight when surely, I mean, yeah, it's going to fall apart and then become a match at WrestleMania, surely, right? Oh, wait, Nakamura. Wait, so is Nakamura going to be in this feud going forward? Oh, Jimmy. I didn't even know Jimmy Uso was here. Where did he come from? You know what? I would prefer this as the main event for WrestleMania. Not main event. As the match. These four, because I feel like all of them have a kind of crossover point. Maybe not Nakamura. But Jimmy Uso, I thought at some point, was going to be the one to face Drew McIntyre. So I was looking forward to that being a match. I think the way that they built the match that we looked at, we're seeing Drew and Damian last week on SmackDown really well. Casper says, heard they were going to release Nakamura. I hope they don't. It'd be a shame. I don't mind Nakamura. Yeah, I don't think so. I think I wouldn't have been surprised at some stage. That's not me saying he deserves to be let go or anything like that, but just from not being used in the way that these things tend to go. But I think giving him this new character, I'd like Gary's cheering on Drew. Really have a strong alliance with Scotland. Yeah, that clip I mentioned earlier on, you've got McIntyre, Chelsea Green being given shirts by Buffon, actually. Legendary Italian player, of course. Oh, Drew McIntyre chant now. And like, again, how great is it to see a different, fresh, excited crowd? Now, this will wear off at some point. And I mentioned it more when we were talking about how they went to certain cities and did PLEs. And they felt a bit like Raws or SmackDowns or even house shows sometimes, or even parts of them. But, and you know, that people might start coming along thinking, oh, you know, this isn't as, you know, it'll wear off the excitement of, oh, we've got a live show, we've got PLE. Which is why I think doing the Raws and SmackDowns are great. Because that will make that stretch out a bit longer. Yeah. Big Jimmy is sliding all the way across the announce table there. Nakamura in charge of him. Audio's kind of dipped out there. Okay, so we are in an ad break now, guys. We're 3 minutes and 10 seconds away from the show coming back on, well, wherever you're watching. I'm watching on Netflix, and I'm still seeing the action continue. Nakamura still in control. Hits Big Jim. We're running knee on the side of the ring. Again, if you're watching with me right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you are watching on demand, it's been cut. Or if you're watching from a territory where they go straight to ads, then I'm going to fill you in with what we're seeing here. So Nakamura is in control. He's now lifting Jimmy onto the top rope as he is setting up, I assume, a running kick or a knee into the turnbuckle as Jimmy sits on the top. There you go. Knee into the chest of Big Jim. He falls down to the mat. Drew is a beast, says Gary. You're right, mate. He is. And what a year he's had. What a past 2 years. You know what? Extend it all the way back to pre-pandemic. What a 6 years he's had. It's been amazing. I mean, there were times when he was a babyface and the champion that he started to dip in that pandemic era, the Thunderdome. But I think since he turned heel, he's been amazing. And it's connected really well. As you can tell with the fans out there in Bologna, very much all about Drew as well. Now, Drew's in control at the moment. He's just stamped on Jimmy's hand in the middle of the ring. And now got him in a submission in the middle of the ring as Damien has his arm stretched. Not very stretched, though, is it? It's not trying very hard there, is he, Damien? Come on, mate. Jimmy Uso's trying to get towards him. Can't quite get there because Drew's yanked him back to the floor as the old Drew McIntyre chant starts to fade out. But Drew hits Damien off the side of the apron. Oh, a lovely suplex there from Drew to lift up Jimmy with all that weight from the ground itself. No help, really. Jimmy Uso chant now from the fans in Bologna. As a slow fall to the pins, as Gary and Casper says, these not many superstars I don't like. I'm enjoying these main superstars, crop of men and women. They have current rosters. Looking forward to WrestleMania 41. Yeah, you're right, mate. I think it's a great time to be a WWE fan. It is, as you say, such a stacked roster that it's hard to pick main events, even though there are 2 nights, you know, and even still, if you start looking at the opener as maybe a bit of a main event or the second to last as a bit of a main event, there are still so many wrestlers that deserve to be in the top spot because we are really in a boom period at the moment. So yeah, really, really fun time. And as you say, leading towards the WrestleMania as well. What better time than now to be a wrestling fan, right? Now we're about 15 seconds away from the main show feed coming back. And again, we're going to be covering the rest of the European Tour live. And then the next big PLE, of course, is WrestleMania. We'll have a lot of content surrounding that as well. Drew McIntyre just hits the old suck it to Damian Priest. Distracted, though, because Jimmy hits him with a Samoan drop as the main feed is back. Damian Priest looking for the tag. Jimmy slowly making his way towards him as Nakamura lays in the ring. And Jimmy hits the tag dramatically, of course. He knows how to be a tag team wrestler. Damian in control now. Knocks McIntyre off the ramp, off the ring, I should say. And takes out Nakamura as he sets him up into the corner for a... I don't know what that was. Big old backsplash. Backsplash is someone else, really, isn't it? The hands are locked. They are locked in tight. He's got that grip as he heads up to the top rope for old school. Into the crossbody. It was a little awkward, that, I won't lie. The crowd are behind Damien, though. But Nakamura isn't, as he hits him with a double kick there. Setting him up now for something big. I'd imagine Damien's going to reverse this. What do you know? Hits him with a big old clothesline. Nakamura spins inside out, but Drew McIntyre makes a save on the pin. Only a 2 count there. I do wonder if this is going to go to a Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania or 2 separate matches. I mean, I don't see Nakamura and Jimmy Uso being a WrestleMania match. So, Big Jim. Bit of a slide, baseball slide, but between the second and third rope there. Oh, and he's knocked off the side of the ring by a running knee from Nakamura, who's in the middle now with Priest, who sets him up for South of Heaven. Hits the chokeslam. 1, 2. There you go. It's all over. Damian Priest picks up the win for himself and Jimmy Uso in this opening bout for SmackDown on the 21st of March, 2025. You are watching the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling watch along for SmackDown, but McIntyre is not happy with the way things have ended there. He's attacked Damian Priest. What's going to happen now? Is this going to be like dragged out and a bit hardcore-y? Oh, Damian's fighting back though. No. Oh, no. Quite a violent attack here from Drew McIntyre. And the fans are chanting for him. Probably not the effect they wanted, but he is a cool heel after all. Bit brutal there. Counting down for the Claymore. Priest kicked into the rope. Probably not the effect they wanted, though, right? Like he's getting cheered massively, Drew, for this. I mean, they're reappropriate the footage and whatever and make it look a certain way. So Drew's saying, this is because of you. Every time you get up, I'll put you down. This is all because of you. Going to WrestleMania because of you. I mean, they're playing it well, to be fair. I mean, Damien looks out of it as Drew slides out of the ring. Damien, nice. Did you see that? Did you see that? Gary says they love Drew. They do. They're very much behind Drew. Here's Braun Strowman in the back, though. Being caught up by LA. This is, I hope you smack Jacob Fatu back to factory sense. Ah, okay. Wow, okay. Some interesting points here. So LA Knight basically said to Braun Strowman, look, good luck against Jacob Fatu. I know how they work, so I'm here in the background to support you. And Braun said, look, I'm looking forward to the match because it's basically a number one contender match. Whoever wins this is going after your title. And the way I see it, that's punching my ticket to WrestleMania. Whether that means the title match will be at WrestleMania or he's basically saying it will be on SmackDown. I'll win it by then. I'm heading to WrestleMania. Interesting to see. If I'm looking at it right now, I'm saying Jacob Fatu is winning. Jacob Fatu is going to WrestleMania to face LA Knight. But it might not be the case. It could be that Braun wins it. It could be that we see a bit more back and forth and title changes before WrestleMania. But interesting to even acknowledge that holding that title means you're going to be in WrestleMania, because we've seen plenty of times where titles have not been defended on pay-per-views, let alone WrestleMania. Tom Talks Rubbish is in the house. What's up, my guy? Hey, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Saw some of your clips go the other day from your interview with Dom. Big fan of those, of course, mate. And for those that haven't checked out Tom's channel already, make sure you do so. He interviews basically a who's list of people in the wrestling media world and finds out their kind of history behind their fandom and what it was like for them to get into that sort of business as well. So if you haven't already, go and check out Tom Talks Rubbish on his YouTube as well. Side Sports in the house says, hello, sorry I'm late. What's happened so far? Don't worry, Side. You haven't missed too much. We had a tag team match between Jimmy Uso and teaming up with Damian Priest. They beat Drew McIntyre and Nakamura. But Drew McIntyre, you wouldn't know it because Drew McIntyre took Priest out at the end and basically set up the match for WrestleMania. Talking about setting up matches for WrestleMania, Kevin Owens tried to get out what seems to be a match for him and Randy Orton at WrestleMania and said, look, we should team up again. We should go for the tag titles at WrestleMania. Randy Orton said, no, ain't happening. I'm going to punt your head off, basically. Long and short of the promo. And looks like we're going to get those two at WrestleMania after all. Although it's not official just yet, so we'll see how that goes. We're on a break now, 2.5 minutes away from the show continuing. This time around, there's no continuation of the action. It's just those promotional clips. So what we're going to do now is head to some more of these comments. So Casper says, Seth did reveal Becky Lynch will return to WWE, but no return date just yet. At some point, be part-time as she winds down her career. Big love for Becky Lynch. Yeah. Thanks for keeping an eye on that, Casper. Yeah, we've talked about that a few times, haven't we, in the past few weeks, especially as we got towards Royal Rumble, where I think a lot of us thought she'd come back. Look, I've always felt that she would come back, and exactly that, as that comment says, maybe start winding things down and be a bit more part-time. But yeah, looking forward to her coming back. How does your hoodie fit, by the way, Casper? Is it a good one? You said it was the man design, wasn't it? So yeah, I hope that serves you well. Casper also says I'm a fan of Trishy time and Tiffy time as well. Yeah, we haven't seen Trish since her match at Elimination Chamber with Tiffany. I am surprised. I did think she'd be featured a little bit more. It does seem like she was just there essentially to link up with Chamber because it was a Canadian show. Kai's in the house. Says, yo, what's up? Hey, Kai, welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying SmackDown so far. And also says, Roman is the OTC. I'm not going to argue it. Mark's in the house as well. Says, unfinished business after Mania. I assume you're referring to the comment here about Trishy and Tiffy. I know both of you guys were with us when we were around the Elimination Chamber period where I was basically saying, look, I'd like to see a triple threat between Charlotte, Tiffy, and Trishy. Didn't happen, but you're right, Mark. It might be something they pick up on after WrestleMania itself. Of course, we've got Backlash straight after that, which is saw a promo for that. Christopher says WWE Slammy's return on Sunday, April the 20th. Is that right? Is that right? I haven't seen anything about that, Christopher. Have they announced that officially? Wouldn't that be the Raw after Mania? If that's the case, that is weird because Raw after Mania sells itself. Surely the Slammies is about kind of bringing in extra attention to, I guess, a regular Raw. But, well, okay. That was about the Becky return. Okay, yeah, you're right. Could be happening after WrestleMania itself or even at WrestleMania. You never know, depending on how these feuds lead towards that. So it says, my SmackDown meal is breakfast for me. So I'm eating chicken biscuits with some passion fruit juice. Yeah, for me, it is 7:37, I should say. So I've had a nice portion of chips from the chip shop and still got my drinks here ready to go and dive into SmackDown even more with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Kaya is watching SmackDown live along with us as well. Again, whether you're watching live or on demand, we appreciate you. And thank you for having us as your watch-along experience for this SmackDown on the 21st of March, 2025. Hoodie is great. Thanks for asking, Scott. WWE hoodies are great, says Casper. Glad to hear it, mate. And Tom says the full interview with Don went live tomorrow. Fantastic. Looking forward to seeing that mate. We're looking forward to it, as you know. Big fan of what you do. And my good pal Dom as well. Kai says, what's your top 5 tier list of WWE superstars? Oh, that's a tough one. Look, let's cover what's going on screen and I'll get to that in a bit, Kai. Gary's back from dinner. Gary, what do you have for dinner? Let us know in the comments. We've just been talking food, actually. All right, here we go. Side-by-side interview. Whoa! Charlotte says the Queen speaks first and cuts out Tiffany. Whoa! Oh, Tom says it's out today. Even better, mate. Less time to wait. I'll look out for it. Charlotte says she chose Tiffany because she's feeling sorry for her. Tiffany says she is special. She's got the title. Oh, Charlotte trying to have a little bit of a dig at the title then. Title win even by saying, look, it was a cash-in. As if it doesn't count. I think it counts. Oh, I like it. It's a good promo. Well. This is a great promo, guys. I think they're touching a lot of the great points as to why this is a match in the first place. You know, there is comparison between the two of them. But Charlotte tried to downplay it and say, look, just because she's blonde and does a moonsault doesn't mean she's the next Charlotte Flair. Oof. Charlotte says you're not even the hottest thing of SmackDown, let alone the company. Ooh. Tiffany said the only one struggling here is you trying to keep up with the fans that don't want you back. And as Charlotte said there, they're either wooing or booing. Cool little quote there. Whoa, another good line there. Tiffany says WWE Universe doesn't bow to you anymore. They run on Tiffy time. I like that. There was a lot of great notes, great points even in that promo between the two. Yes, it was pre-recorded, it would seem, and there was room for error, but I think they hit the ball out of the park on many of those lines. So yeah, that's a nice little clip there. Let's get some more of these comments here. Gary's having spaghetti bolognese. I forgot you said that, mate. Of course you got to have a spag bowl on a night like this in Bologna, right? There we go. Jacob Fatu's making his way to the ring. Let's get to some more of these comments as he does so. Christopher Leclerc says, Roxanne Perez, Tiffany Stratton, Cora Jade, Bayley, and Liv Morgan. What's that about, Christopher? What are we talking about there? Are we talking about the women's division? Because Kaya says, let's see who wins the women's title. Sludge says, Naomi and Bianca deserve an Emmy. Yeah, they've done great lately, haven't they? I'm looking forward to seeing what Jade does tonight. And I imagine Naomi's going to get involved there. But we'll see. Mark says, has Charlotte forgot Dad's been in Money in the Bank matches before? True. And he didn't win the briefcase, did he? Christopher says, Charlotte Flair has been cashed in on 3 times. Bayley, Carmella, Nikki Cross, the most in WWE history. So, yeah, damn right she's going to downplay the briefcase. That makes a lot of sense, actually, doesn't it? Well done, Christopher, on that note. Casper says, I ordered a meal for G Burger. Got chips, kebab wrap, 2 great tasting milkshake and chocolate and syrupy, some ice water for later. Mate, you've gone big tonight for your SmackDown meal. A kebab wrap, a burger. Oh, it sounds good. A milkshake with chocolate and strawberry. Woof. We're on the breaks now, guys. We're seeing a WWE Shop Zone ad. Is it still called the Shop Zone? I don't think it is. That's dated me, isn't it? What's it called these days? WWEshop.com. That's it. Mark wants to know if we've got cheese on that spag bowl, Gary. Gary says, just finished Scott. Oh my God, that was a mistake. I swear. Oh, the Bologna link to Bolognese. That was an accident, was it? I thought you planned it on purpose, Gary. Jacob Fatu should have a title, says Kai. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if he's winning the US title at WrestleMania, and this match could be his first step towards that. Gary says the OG, of course, make 4 different types of cheese. Is that what you're saying there, Gary? Are we talking about something else? 4 different types of cheese. If we've got 4 different types of cheese, what are we having? Cheddar, Parmesan, Red Leicester, and what have you thrown like American cheese on top as well? What's going on, Gary? Maybe we're not talking about cheese at all. I don't know. Oh, I'm getting hungry just talking about cheese. Anyway, we are 2 minutes away from the show continuing, guys. Thank you to everyone that's joined us for this watch-along party. Appreciate all of you, as you know. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Check out more of our content on this channel. It's not just watch-alongs. To be honest, we don't do watch-alongs often. We're doing them for this European tour because, as you may be able to tell, I'm British, and this is on at a reasonable time for me. It is 7:45 in the evening, and that doesn't happen often for WWE shows. So we figured we'd give you some extra content surrounding these European shows. We've got Glasgow coming up and 2 shows in London to cover as well. Speaking of which, we've had the privilege of being at some of those London shows and interviewing the likes of Bayley and LA Knight, who, of course, we saw just a moment ago, and may have one of these guys taking his US title if they've got anything to do with it very, very soon. We've also had the opportunity to chat to guys like Kaiser and Gunther from Imperium. Also great conversations in the past with people like Matt Riddle and Bianca Belair. So if you haven't already subscribed, guys, as I say, we're here for the watch-along experience tonight, but we also hit you with a few reviews. There's our review of last week's SmackDown, if you know our thoughts on what happened in the main event and those surprise vignettes. Will we get any of those tonight, guys? Will we get that number 4 appear? Maybe we'll get a number 5. Maybe we'll get another vignette from what looked to be a masked luchador. Again, a lot of speculation at the moment surrounding that being Phoenix, maybe. We also had our instant reaction review of Monday Night Raw. Quite a bit of content actually on this channel surrounding Raw. So if you haven't already, go and check that one out. Little clip here from last week's SmackDown. You may remember Lucas was in the house. He was actually there in Barcelona. That's a clip he got. Just play that again. You'll see there's Iffy time jumping off the announce table at Charlotte Flair. If you want to see Lucas's thoughts on what it's like to be in the arena at the moment on this European tour, then again, check out that instant reaction review. But also going to try and hit you with some more behind the scenes clips from that show and Lucas's time in Barcelona on this very channel soon. So again, it's not just watch alongs. Sometimes we have vlogs, we have interviews with WWE superstars, we've got reviews, we're going to have our build-up show to WrestleMania. I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to that, as I am as well. We always have a big build-up show on the night of a PLE, and again, it's about just under a month away, but we'll have one for both nights of WrestleMania. And again, if you're new here, that's how we roll on the PLE weekends. We hit you with a PLE build-up show to get us all in the mood. Some more comments here as well, as we see Braun making his way to Big SOB, getting a little bit of his steam train effect there. As we're back on air. Sludge Sports says, Male Superstar of the Year, Cody, Roman, Seth, Gunther, Punk, Damian, Drew, Seth, LA Knight, and Jay. You got a lot there, Sludge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But look, I ain't arguing with him. If you're going to pick a top 10, I think they are the top 10, right? I don't know who I should put in there. What else have we got? A few more comments here. It's in a bag, mate. I have no idea. Oh, it's a 4-cheese blend, Gary. Is that what it is? Fancy. Read the back of the bag, Gary. Let us know what cheese you've got. What else we got? Sludge says the women are the nominees for best women's wrestler. Oh, sorry. I see what you mean now. That comment earlier on. Who were they? Let's go back to them. So that Charlotte there. Christopher talked about Charlotte being cashed in on. Where was your comment, Sludge? Oh, some great women's wrestler here from Christopher as well. Mark says the White Six are fully cleared and is talking to the company on what to do with him. Apparently coming from Fightful. Yeah, really strange. A lot of rumors going around at the moment. Of course, that Alexa Bliss is, she's been taken off of the WWE. Is it World? They call it these days. The thing that used to be Access, which is a bit concerning. Massive, massive return. And a few hints since, but that's about it. So, yeah, let's hope we see more from the White Six soon. And Alexa Bliss, hopefully. Sludge again with the Wrestlers of the Year. As the match starts now, you know this is going to be a slugfest. Braun in control early on. I think Fatu is going to fight back quickly here. What do you know? He throws him into the turnbuckle. Takes control now. Casper says that the build up to WrestleMania is going to be great. You know, Casper, looking forward to it. And as well, watch alongs on the so we'll do the watch along for the pre-shows. We're going to try and cover NXT as much as we can as well. There won't be a watch along as far as I know at the moment for WrestleMania itself, but we'll hit you with an instant reaction review after both nights have concluded. And again, our build-up show will be here to take you right up until the start of the PLE. Sludge says those are the nominees for Slammies. Oh, I get what you're saying. Oh, again, good choices. Good choices, I've got to say. Now we are well underway now into this second match. Actually, it's more than the second match, isn't it? We've had a few now. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Wade Barrett's asking for them to keep away from them on the announce table. No way, this really is the second match, isn't it? We've only had the tag match. Flippin' heck. Jacob Fatu is not looking good at the moment. Christopher says Roxanne Perez on the Slammies for NXT Superstar of the Year. I'd imagine that's a given. I can't really pick anyone else to be in that spot if I'm honest. So yeah, I'd be surprised if she didn't win that one. Not that she don't deserve it, but I'm just saying, yeah, it feels like she's the most likely. Jacob Fatu diving off of the side of the ring apron onto Braun Strowman there. All right, we are now heading to a break, but the action continues for us in the UK. If you're watching on demand and you don't have this segment still intact, I'll let you know what's going on. Or if you're watching it internationally and you're getting actual adverts at the moment, we're 3 minutes away from the show coming back. But Jacob Fatu is in control on the outside of the ring. He's diving into the ring to break the count as he makes his way back towards Braun Strowman, who stumbles past the crying bottle and gets hit with a headbutt by Jacob Fatu, who hits him off of the steel steps and does his little funky move there. Gary says mozzarella, cheddar, Gloucester, and jack cheese. Oh, okay, I see it now. That makes sense. That's a good mix, mate. That's a good mix of cheese. Christopher says Julia is also on the same list of NXT Superstars of the Year. Yeah, Julia's had a good start essentially into WWE career in NXT. But yeah, when you look at the year overall, it's got to be Roxanne Perez. I mean, Julia, they might want to give it to her because she's just lost her title and it kind of keeps her relevant while she's away with injury. Of course, that match against Stephanie Vaquer just a little while ago. Braun playing up to the crowd, getting to sing along. He's like the sound of the tune, obviously. We're about 1 minute and 50 seconds away from the ad break ending. Gary, I'm wishing I was with you, mate, eating a spaghetti bolognese with 4 different cheeses. Sounds great. Especially for this Bologna show. Jacob Fatu now hits Braun with a hard-hitting clothesline. They're both down in the middle of the ring, but Jacob's slowly making his way up to his feet, taking a bit of time there to get a little bit of rest, it seems. We're about 1 minute and 10 seconds away from the main stream coming back. I mean, even this is like a WrestleMania-worthy match, right? If they led it the right way. And that's happened a lot with Braun lately. He had that incredible feud with Bronson Reed just on the weekly shows, or might even, just been on Raw. But he's not really done much lately, Braun, has he? You know, he's kind of been a company guy and a team player. Not really been the highlighted feature. It's been about getting someone else over and been about doing it on TV as well. So, ole, ole, Fatu, Fatu chant now from the fans in Bologna. Casper says, my brother's watching WWE and WWE events earlier, like the Chris Benoit wrestling, but doesn't condone what he did. But always loved the Chris Benoit was a good wrestler. Yeah, Benoit's an awkward one, isn't it, Casper? I mean, not awkward in the sense that it's pretty plain and clear that what he did in the end was absolutely horrible. But it's one of those, do you separate art from artist? And for a lot of these great superstars in WWE history, some of their biggest and most important matches and moments happened alongside Benoit. So you can't fully erase him in that sense that he was a great wrestler. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, always a difficult situation when kind of talking about Benoit and watching Benoit matches back. It's hard to not think about how that all ended, of course. But Jacob Fatu taking control. Samoan drop to Braun as we're back from the break. And then a little bit of a senton splash. Only gets the 2 with it, though. Christopher says, Julia, Roxanne Perez, Obafemi. Oh, that's a good shout. Trick Williams, Kalani Jordan, Ethan Page on the Slammies for NXT Superstar of the Year. Now that you give me the full list, Christopher, I'm like, you know what? Some of them have had great years as well. But I still think the best out of all of them is Roxanne Perez for the year she had. Some of them had the best year of their career, and some of them had great years, generally speaking. But I think the best one overall is probably Roxanne Perez. Running hit from Jacob as he hits him with a shoulder dance. I don't know what that is, but Aiden's in the house, says hello. Let's go, Braun. Great to have you back, Aiden. Hope you're getting excited and ready for your trip down to London, mate. Of course, we're very close. Well, WWE are very close to you soon, as we mentioned the other day. Headed to Glasgow for Monday Night Raw. Gary says, old school Braun would have finished the match by now. Yeah, Braun was Braun is a beast these days, but I know what you mean, Gary. He was highlighted and featured as kind of, he's flipping over trucks and stuff back in the day, wasn't he? So, not that Jacob's not hard to beat. He's presented in a great way himself, but this match is about Jacob. Surely Jacob's going to win this. If Braun wins it, it's because something else is happening between now and Mania, surely. Aiden says, Christopher, Kalani or Roxanne or even Julia for me as far as the NXT Superstar of the Year. But yeah, I've just done a little bit of research myself, but I've just seen you're right, mate. It is Slammies on the Raw after WrestleMania. How crazy is that? Very unexpected. But the votes are open. You can go and vote on the WWE website for who you think should be Superstar of the Year. And several other categories, of course. Both beasts in the ring. And a spine buster from Strowman. Oh, Solo's in. Okay. Wait. The whole point of this match was they didn't announce it as the number one contendership. But the whole point was the winner was going to face LA Knight. And Fatu's annoyed. Yeah, because this was his chance. This is weird. There's real dissension between the new bloodline now because Solo's getting back involved and looking quite impressive himself. But Jacob is obviously annoyed that his title has been taken away from him, essentially. Wow. Didn't expect that. Here we go. LA Knight's in the house to even the numbers, as he said he would, to support Braun Strowman. Tama Tonga's calling him on as LA runs down the ramp and attacks Tama. Takes off to the US title. Gets in a ring with it and ducks over Solo. Hits Jacob and Solo. Double punches now. Yeah, chant on the way. Tama Tonga takes advantage, though. Hits him from behind. You'd imagine Braun's going to get up and help now. We might even get to, just like we did last week on SmackDown, a 6-man tag. Did you see that? LA Knight tried to flip Tama over the top rope. He didn't get anywhere close to it, and he bounced right off it. Okay, so the result is Braun. Does that mean Braun is the number one contender? Okay, so now Braun stares down LA Knight, the champion, because it sounds like he is number one contender next week, perhaps, says Wade. All right, well, we'll see. We'll cover it on this very channel. If it does happen this time next week, we'll be here to tell you all about it. I don't think Braun's winning it. I've got to be honest. But cool, a title match on next week's SmackDown, guys. That was our Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman extravaganza. Didn't end the way I think we expected, but progressive storylines. Backstage now, we got Kathy Kelly talking to Liv and Raquel, talking about how they interrupted Jade Cargill's interview last week. Of course, we're going to see Jade Cargill face off against Liv tonight. That makes sense for the heel to carry on and be annoyed about them being suspected. They're still bad guys who could have done it, right? So what are they going to do with these titles? All right. All right, we're going back to the Royal Rumble now, apparently, to show Seth and Roman being eliminated, and then Punk being eliminated on top. And then, of course, that stomp that basically set this feud in motion, this triple threat feud. And, of course, tonight on SmackDown, we are going to see these three face to face to face, it seems, all under one roof. Let's see what happens tonight with these three on the show. It's funny last week, wasn't it, in Barcelona, when they were like, yeah, next week we're going to see Roman. And all the fans were like, oh, what? Not tonight? And then on Raw, next Friday, we're going to see Roman. Oh, what? Not tonight? Piper Niven coming out now on her way to the ring. Of course, she's going to face off against Zelina Vega. She's been accompanied to the ring by Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. Get to a few of these comments as we make our way through the entrances. They're about to get to an ad break here. What's going to happen in this ad break? We're going to get a continuation of the entrance, maybe? Oh, it's a Road to WrestleMania video. Okay, let's see what this is. Oh, is this the advert for the Tony Hinchcliffe roast? Yeah, okay. So Tony Hinchcliffe's doing a roast. It's not going to be recorded for some reason, apparently. It's just a live thing, but okay, fair enough. He's a wrestling fan. The roast of WrestleMania, it'd be interesting to see how they do that. Is it going to be... It's not going to be kayfabe, but like, what can they say? What will they allow them to say? Is it going to be on TV? See, that's advertised as if we are going to be able to watch it. There's so much going on. WrestleMania week is mad. It is mad. WrestleMania week is too much. Like, I love WrestleMania. I think we all do. I've been to several WrestleManias, and it is great. But WrestleMania weekend that spread into half a week and now a full week is hard to commit to. There are so many events. And then you've got the non-WWE events as well, by the way. But they've really struggled in recent years to fit in the Hall of Fame and NXT. And now they're adding extra events. Let's see how they do it this year. Of course, they have moved the Hall of Fame. It is going to be still after SmackDown, but in a different venue, which I'm glad about. And if you haven't already, check out the video myself and Rob did on this very channel about how this presentation of Hall of Fame has really suffered in recent years, in my opinion, because it has been after SmackDown. It's not had that incredible kind of intimate suit and tie feel that it used to have, where people would be excited to dress up and go to Hall of Fame. It felt like an award ceremony. Nowadays, it feels like part of the show, and I don't like it. Feels like we might be going back that way. But again, check out our video talking about how to fix the Hall of Fame on this channel, and also how to fix WWE's WrestleMania week. How do you squeeze in Raw and SmackDown, NXT, WrestleMania 1 and 2 as far as the nights go? And then now a roast and things like that on this very channel. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe and you'll find more content like that throughout the channel itself. Now, let's get to more of these comments. As I say, we've got... Let me find... Where were we? Christopher Leclerc says, 12 years ago, Bayley made a WWE debut in 2013. Is it really? That's 2013, really 12 years ago. Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's a long time. Big fan of Bayley and her work, though. Casper says, think they should bring back Matt Riddle, Rated RK Bro Tag Team. Look, I was a big fan of their work. I did enjoy Matt Riddle's work overall and his time with Randy Orton. I think it gave Randy a new lease of life. And I think it's a big part of why Randy is doing so well at the moment and so focused and engaged, essentially. I think he himself was saying at the time how it had given him kind of a bit of a boost. Aiden not too happy with the US title match that seems to be coming up next week. Braun versus LA, though. Gary also not really a fan of the way that match ended. And Mark suggesting that maybe we will eventually get to a triple threat match. Gary says just bounce right off the top rope. Yeah, it was hilarious, wasn't it? Aiden thinks the breakout superstar should be Lyra Valkyria. Casper says, big love for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and Kathy Kelly. A nice little backstage segment we saw there. Aiden says, I've looked at WrestleMania schedule and I said, WTF. Still a long way to go, though, Aiden. Hopefully we'll get a bit more refined soon. Loving Raquel Rodriguez's new looks as Casper. Yeah, I'm liking it too. I think she, especially within the judgment there, I think it suits her quite well. And again, with Liv Morgan as a tag team partner. Easy, you don't fit in all. Yeah, it's too much, as Mark says. It is a lot. They need to do something else. Again, you'll see my thoughts in more detail if you check that video out. But it's, as you say, Mark, it's hard to squeeze it all in. It's too much content. But we're a sucker for it, right? Even watching at home, it's tiring. It's tiring. I love it. I love WrestleMania week. And look, it's even more so for us because we're doing all this content around it as well. You guys are joining us for the extra content, which is always great. But it's a lot. But when you're there in person, it's physically a lot as well, you know? So, but look, can't complain too much. It's the greatest time of year to be a wrestling fan, right? WrestleMania season, WrestleMania week itself. Can't wait for it, guys. Again, we'll have a lot more content coming on this channel throughout the next few weeks as we lead towards WrestleMania itself on this European road to WrestleMania. More of these watch-along experiences for the European shows and more content surrounding it. I love the fact they just showed that replay, by the way, where he bounced off the ropes again. Hilarious. I know, and as we get to WrestleMania, and again, for those that have been with us for a while now, you'll know on the night of a PLE, we hit you with a build-up show. We get you in the mood. We get ourselves hyped up for the event. We talk about last-minute rumors and kind of things like that. And it's always fun around WrestleMania. We talk about the stage and how it's been set up. And, yeah, looking forward to that. Now, Jacob backstage is not in a good mood. Solo's trying to calm him down. Oh. Solo's basically saying, look, it looked like you were struggling. We were there to help. Oh, Jacob's talking back to Solo now, saying you better watch it. When I'm taking care of my business, you better stay out of it, essentially. Tamatonga looks disappointed as well. Be interested to see what happens when Tonga Loa comes back. What the dynamic will be then. Speaking of dynamic, what a great little trio we've got between these three. Chelsea and her crew. Italian rapper Anna in the house. With looking like her own WWE title there as well. Fair play. WWE did a good job at getting superstars, celebrities to these shows that are local. Last week, of course, we saw Lamine Yamal from Barcelona, in Barcelona. Zelina Vega now making her way to the ring. Yeah, as Aiden said, Jacob was raging there. Jacob not happy. Wow, future feud. Yeah, I think eventually, Gary, we will get Jacob versus Solo. I honestly think it's too soon, though. Because what do? Split up the bloodline again, even further? It's too soon. But I understand why we're making our way towards it at some point, at least. Mark says, as long as he doesn't botch the return, Camacho. All right, so again, we're making our way into the next advertised match. I wonder if we will see any more like thrown together, but for now, we're sticking with the pre-announced card. Another match here, of course, Zelina Vega taking on Piper Niven. Oh, Winter Olympics in Italy this year. Okay, didn't know that. Piper versus Zelina. Had the pleasure of interviewing both of these ladies. Both very, very nice to us as well, I've got to say. We interviewed Zelina for Money in the Bank when it was here in London. And Piper with a great chat to when she was under the name of Dewdrop. Remember that? And to her credit, she actually won me over with the name change. So check that out if you haven't already. And it's a Jacob joins Roman Reigns. Could be the case. Could be. Gary says she's going to get squashed. Yeah, I think she will. Unless she's kind of gets a kind of plucky under the pin, and I got the hiccups. Casper says John Cena versus Cody will be night 2 WrestleMania main event, and we'll probably see Zilla Fatu debut soon. Yeah, I'd imagine we will see Zilla at some point, and I think you're right as far as the order of the main events go there, mate. Aiden hated the name Judy. Look, I think most people did. Again, watch the interview I did with her. She convinces me. I won't lie. She convinces me. I think she was sold it. And even if she weren't, she did a good job at selling me. But yeah, she talked a little bit about her character change. And it was an interesting time for her because even this is not the same character we saw on the Indies in the UK. This is not the same character we saw in NXT UK. And it's not the same as Dewdrop. It's kind of a mixture of all of them. So in some ways, you can see that credit where it's due. She learned a lot in that period and she's using it now. So not saying she was bad as Piper. You'll see the interview. I was a big fan of her before anyway, but Mark says someone called Alistair. Zelina's going to get squashed. I think Alistair might be there soon, mate. Yeah, for him is to be relieved. And Piper is underestimated, says Aiden. Yeah. Look, I think her and Alba Fire deserve more, you could say. At the same time, they're in a great role. I'm enjoying what they're doing. I enjoyed it a lot when it was just Piper. And now that Alba's involved, judging from what I've seen with Piper and Chelsea, I think this will be great as well. So I'm happy for this. I'm happy for them. They're getting TV time and they're getting to show different parts of their character that they've not really done before in WWE TV. Again, Dewdrop kind of playful, of course, with Piper Niven. But Alba Fire, she was Alba Fire with Isla Dawn, of course, tag team champions, got to say. Very different character what she is today, and very different to what she was when she was Kaylee Ray as NXT Women's Champion as well, NXT UK Women's Champion. So definitely a different kind of experience for them. And I think, yeah, it gives them an opportunity to show what they can do in a different way. Not that anything they were doing was bad, but hey, they've got to take these opportunities, right? What do you know? We've got an interview with Alba Fire on this channel when she was known as Kaylee Ray in the archives as well. Look, I'm full of plugging the matches, the interviews through the matches tonight. Piper Niven fully in control, though. Huge slam there on Zelina. It looked like it hurt. Looks like we're about to get to a break. Is it one where we get a continuation of the match? Yes, it is. With 2 minutes and 22 seconds away from the main feed coming back. Again, if you're watching an ad because you're watching on demand or you are watching in a territory where they don't continue the stream, let me just fill you in with what's going on here. Zelina is being held up against the ropes by her throat by Piper Niven, who has been stopped by the referee, but a slap from Chelsea Green there didn't connect very well, but here she goes for another, which I reckon is the one they're going to use as a replay when the show comes back on air. That's the interesting thing, guys. We get to see the behind the scenes, what's going on, like as if you were in the venue itself. Because we all know what it's like, right? If you've been to a show or you can see how the ads come back. They're coming back from a rest hold. To be fair to them, they've done more than that lately. They've done kind of significant spots in the breaks. This time, though, a lot of times when something does happen significant, they replay it. I've got a sneaky feeling that first slap won't be and the second one will be. They're advertising the European Football Legacy belts, which I did see that funny comment from Drew McIntyre saying that see something along the lines of the only time that Spurs are going to see a trophy or a championship even. And as an Arsenal fan, I have to say I did enjoy that. No Arsenal championship, though, I've got to say. What's going on there? Tonight, though, I'm repping my Kappa Venezia shirt. Figured it's an Italian-based show. It's the least I can do. And again, if you want to hear us talk football, we've got a Rebellious Noise football channel as well. If you want to see us talk about food and drink, you've got a Rebellious Noise taste channel. Rebellious Noise Screen 1 for film and TV. Rebellious Noise Tunes for music. And the main Rebellious Noise channel for a mixture of all those things. Let's get to some more of these comments as the match continues in the break. Got a slam there from Piper Niven. We're about 20 seconds away from the match coming back on the main feed. But let's get to some more of these comments. Aiden says, definitely not the same as WrestleZone Scotland, yeah. Different character, of course. Good they've given Alba Fire a storyline, says Casper. Aiden says they shouldn't be with Chelsea. I can't wait for Alba and Piper to turn on grid. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and again, especially as you mentioned with her being, well, both of them being Scottish. I know as a fellow Scot, you're probably looking forward to that, Aiden. Casper says loving Alba Fire's new look. Mark says, by the way, that was meant to be Blair Davenport doing the Alba Fire spot. Everything was her already made. Right, okay. Is that the case? Blair Davenport, she got released, didn't she? Yeah, so interesting. I think she would have played the role quite well as well. She did miss the first time as Aiden said. They haven't done the replay yet, though, have they? We're back on air on the main feed, but they haven't done the replay. So maybe they'll just skip it. Mark says they do Arsenal, but come on now, Mark. Come on. Good joke, though. Good joke. All right. We bottle. We got the prime in the corner. I get you. Yeah, it's got to. Yeah, all right. All right. Slow down, mate. Slow down. Yes, everything was made before the release, says Mark. Yeah, sadly, Blair Davenport did get released from WWE. And he says, I will celebrate the turn, even if Piper and Alba are the heels. Yeah, because I do feel like Chelsea will play into a babyface, a good babyface at some point. Gary says, this has been the longest match of the evening so far. Yeah, I think it probably has been, you know. But it feels long at least, don't it? Piper's still very much in control. And as Christopher mentioned earlier on, we do have the Slammies coming up in just a few weeks' time. The award ceremony for WWE. Very surprised it's going to be on the Raw after WrestleMania. It's going to be a big, big show if that's the case. At the moment, though, we are watching Zelina Vega versus Piper Niven. And as Gary mentioned, it's been a bit of a long match so far. A bit slow in the action at the moment as well. Piper is still very much in control. And they're advertising on screen now. Under one roof tonight, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Chelsea is over with the fans, says Casper. Yeah, for sure. They love her. I think she's so good. So good. Aiden says, I was cheering for Alba and Isla's heels. Yeah, me too. When they won in Glasgow, that was cool. Surprised they didn't do more with it. It seemed like it was just simply for that night, wasn't it? Which is a real shame. And yeah, big size difference, as Gary says, between Zelina and Piper Niven. Piper's holding her up. Oh, but Zelina's fought her way out of it. Aiden says, is Punk, Seth, Roman going to be in the ring together? I'd imagine they will be. I got to think that's going to end the show tonight. Gary says, Chelsea isn't bad on the eye as well. Quite stuff. Nice to know your taste, Gary. If I ever get to meet, I would say I'd give you your number, but and send it your way. But I think Matt Cardona is going to have something to say about that, so let's stay away from that one. Aiden says I may have had a tear or two when they won, of course, referring to Alba and Fire winning the tag titles. Yeah, it was a great moment. It really was. Oh, pin there from Zelina, but Piper kicks out. Casper says Alba Piper could happen. Turn on Chelsea. You never know. Things like this might happen. Yeah, I think it will at some point. Gary can't help himself. And Aiden says, I was gutted I was on holiday and not in Glasgow. No. What a shame, mate. I hope you enjoyed your holiday either way. Mark says, I know you're not doing AEW, but what the hell is Mox, Cope, and Khan doing? Yeah, you're right. This is not an AEW stream, but kind of quick thoughts on that. It was rough, wasn't it? It was rough. Those spikes are just far too dangerous for my liking. Look, I like Moxley and I like him being hardcore and I like that they're trying to push the envelope. And it's a certain side of wrestling, don't get me wrong. But for me, I mean, it's easy to say, like, complain when it goes wrong, right? But it was unnecessary as well. So, but at the same time, look, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I loved when Cactus Jack pulled out the thumbtacks and when Edge went through the flaming table and, you know, all these. I love hardcore wrestling, I really do. But yeah, that was scary the other day. That was scary. Aiden was out in Lanzarote while the WWE were in Scotland. A different climate, of course. I hope you enjoyed it, mate. Oh, a lovely kind of satellite DDT. Oh, Piper kicks out. That should have been. We're getting towards the end now, surely. Chelsea's getting up on the top ropes. Whoa, taken out by Zelina. $619. She jumps over Alba. Oh, kick to the face. Oh, crossbody from Piper. It's over. To be fair to Zelina, she tried, but when there's three of them, that's it. All over. Mark says, shows how bad it is when even ECW guys are wincing. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, I got to say. All right, now the Secret Harvests are coming out of SmackDown happy. Next up, we're going to have a look back at Cody and John Cena's promo on Monday Night Raw. Gary says if Zelina won that match, it would have been a bit silly. Aiden agrees. Yeah, especially when there was so much stats against her with the guys outside. Yeah, I mean, look, we're in an ad break now, so let's talk about it. John Cena's heel promo. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't bad, but it was different. There were things I really enjoyed about it, but it was certainly a kind of, I don't know, a shock in some ways because he played the character completely different. He played it like, I'm it's sort of like the typical heel situation, really. We're about 2.5 minutes away from SmackDown being back, by the way. But let's catch up with what happened with Monday Night Raw. Again, John Cena does his heel promo. And again, for the most part, it was very kind of typical. I'm a bad guy. You guys, you're never good for me. And you want, and you take, and that kind of stuff, which I got. But I think we were all looking for answers to why he did what he did. And I understand why he didn't change his theme song and he didn't change his look because we all expected it, right? We all wanted it. And I think because that was the heel that we all assumed we were going to get, he doubled down on being a heel by saying, look, you're going to be even more annoyed because I'm not even giving you that. But was it the right move? I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see next week on Monday Night Raw how they kind of go from here, essentially, because it didn't do a lot to sell WrestleMania for me. And it didn't do a lot to sell why Cena's done what he's done. Again, there's a video on this very channel now, guys. Again, you see it there. No new music, no new look, where we break down that very segment in fine detail. Myself and Lucas talking about that. If you want to see my kind of reaction to it as it happened, if you want to watch along, you can get the Cena heel promo up and watch my reaction to it on this very channel as well. That, of course, was part of the wider stream we did the other night for Monday Night Raw, which featured our watch-along experience, just like you're watching tonight's watch-along experience for Friday Night SmackDown. After this, though, we're going to be back with an instant reaction review once the show comes off the air. We're going to let you know what we thought of the show overall. Of course, you're getting my thoughts and opinions right now, But what we're going to do at the end of the show is give you a proper review as well. And that's going to be on this very stream. So if you're watching live, stay tuned. If you're watching on demand, it'll be uploaded separately as well on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. More comments here as well. Mark says, also, when you're building a faction, you need them all winning. Yeah, true. That's a good point, Mark. Gary says, for sure, Aiden, just different size difference between them was ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it was a big ask for Zelina in the first place, let alone when there were 2 extra people on the ringside. Aiden's in a big hyped up mood for Monday Night Raw in London. Looking forward to that, I'm sure. Casper says, I know Dean Ambrose is a different promotion, but there's stigma about him doing things all the same at the time. Excuse me, same things all the time. WWE. I think Dean, unfortunately, I was a bit surprised because of that WWE. I think he will come back to WWE at some point. I don't think it'd be just like this, though. Yeah, big news as well. Being broke at the moment. Clash in Paris is not just that show itself now. They're going to Dublin on the 22nd, Liverpool on the 23rd, Newcastle 24th, Birmingham 25th. Oh, I've missed it now. It's gone now. But some of those are going to be live shows, just like this. Dublin, I'm looking forward to, man. We'll try and hit you with some watch-alongs if they're surely going to be at a reasonable time once again. We'll be here for it once again. And yeah, Clash in Paris tour, as Aiden says, it's now a tour. It's not just one show in Paris itself. Figures after the other night, would you even want Moxley back? Look, I think there's still credit in Moxley, and there's a lot for him to do in WWE. And yeah, I think a Shield reunion someday will be, can you imagine? Massive. But I do think he's dropped off the radar as far as the other 2 go. He was arguably the biggest name at one point out of the 3 of them when he went to AEW because of the move. But because of AEW's kind of change in fortunes, and this isn't a kind of anti-WWE comment, by the way. I'm not just trying to say, look, I'm a WWE fan and therefore don't like AEW. It's not the case. There was a time when AEW was a lot better than WWE, but that time has passed. Will it come back? Who knows? But at the moment, I've got to say, WWE are on fire and AEW have slipped quite a bit. I still enjoy things with AEW, I've got to say, but it's not like it was for me. Yeah, Aiden wants Mox back for a Shield reunion as well. And that's the reason we don't have a PLE this year. Yeah, good point, actually. We don't have a PLE. I did think we'd get one when they announced Clash in Paris. I thought we'd still get one. By the way, guys, I've done a video on this channel about Clash in Paris in a bit more detail as well, because I don't think many people have really spoken about this, but the venue that Clash in Paris is going to be at is pretty cool. There are so many kind of tech kind of features that they can take advantage of. So I do encourage you to check that out again once you're done with this stream. Check it out on this very channel. I've broke down the cool features essentially that the venue has that I really hope WWE take advantage of. Now, though, as I say, we're seeing a recap of John Cena's promo on Raw. If you haven't already, check out our reactions to it on this very channel. It'll be interesting to see what he's got to say for himself on Monday Night Raw, which again comes from the UK this time round. It's going to be in Glasgow, Scotland. Aiden says, no, we have too much live shows this year. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to... Yeah, true. You're right. We've got the SmackDowns and the Raws as well. So, yeah, I wonder if they're going to move away from the PLE format of international PLEs. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe only big ones. I think that's probably the better thing to do, to be honest. Just do Raws and SmackDowns like they've been doing for this tour. And as we say, that tour in August, looking forward to that as well, man. I'm really excited to see what a Dublin crowd's got to say for themselves. They sadly missed out on a takeover event. I think it was NXT UK or even just NXT. They were supposed to have a show in early 2020. And then, you know, what happened? They had to cancel it. So since then, the Irish have been waiting for a big WWE show to be televised. So, yeah, hopefully their SmackDown, I think it is one to remember. Aiden thinks we might get one next year. SummerSlam, yeah, that'd be huge, wouldn't it? SummerSlam would be massive. I'm surprised they didn't do it to commemorate the 30th anniversary of 92. Instead, we did get Clash at the Castle, which was great, I got to say. Really enjoyed Clash at the Castle in Cardiff. It was a fantastic show. Decent attendance for that as well. Really, really enjoyable time over there in Cardiff for the first PLE in the UK for quite some time. Of course, we all refer back to SummerSlam 92, but we got to remember the insurrections and the rebellions in the early 2000s, even if they weren't always newsworthy in some ways. But I remember the time British Bulldog won the hardcore title. That was newsworthy. But yeah, good time over here in the UK when the WWE come over, of course, as always. And again, if you haven't already, check out our content on this very channel from Clash at the Castle weekend. We had a great conversation with Rhea Ripley. It told us what it was like for her getting into alternative music, what led to her being this kind of alternative character, and just what it's like to scare people and being part of iconic wrestling memes online. Backstage, we're seeing Jade Cargill setting up for a match now. Gone silent, no? Okay, an interview. Kathy wants to know, is she ready to face Liv Morgan? First match since the attack. Okay, so Jade saying after this, I'm coming after you, Naomi. This is a preview of what she's going to do to Naomi, says Jade. I got a feeling she's going to be there. Like, Naomi's got to be there and attack her or something, right? A few more comments here. NXT should get... we should get NXT Europe. Yeah, it's not happened, has it? Whatever happened to that plan? Hopefully, it will happen someday. They did get rid of NXT UK, and it felt like that would be the kind of natural successor from that. Didn't happen. Not yet, at least. Gary says, I don't know what The Rock has over Cena, but it looks like he's pulling the strings a bit. Yeah, for sure. That's what was frustrating about it, wasn't it? You know, it's something we expected to get answers for, and we didn't. But hey, we'll all tune into Monday Night Raw to see what happens there instead. Casper says, we need to get a Break-A-Wish storyline in, but John Cena, I'm breaking up with every single one of you did say on Raw. Yeah, I know, Casper, you're a big fan of this Break-A-Wish, aren't you? Look, as you say, John Cena said, look, I'm breaking up with all you. It's over. I'm not like the way you've been treating me. And things are going to change, but not too much. Like, he's still wearing the same merch. He's still coming out to the same music. But again, as I say, it's because he said he's not giving us what we want. He's not giving us this kind of heel John Cena. We're about 2 minutes and 10 seconds away from the show coming back. At the moment, guys, you're not missing anything special if you are watching internationally and headed to breaks, or if you're watching on demand. We're basically getting the We'll Be Right Back graphic with WWE superstars posing. Let's get to some more of these comments. So Mark says, last time you did a proper show in Italy, we got Santino. Come on, WWE. That was a long time ago. Yeah, Santino, of course, was in the crowd. I think it was in Milan. He came out and pretended to be a local and won the Intercontinental title, which was just weird when you look back on something like that, right? And then he had this really fun career. I got to be honest, I'm a big fan of Santino. Aiden also says SummerSlam next year, Birmingham maybe, and WrestleMania 43 in Manchester. No, I mean, I got to say, look, if we get WrestleMania, I don't think it's anytime soon. It's definitely not going to be in an arena. But yeah, SummerSlam coming over here again, I think could be on the cards. Who knows? About 1 minute and 10 seconds away. We just saw an ad there, or part of the ads even, for DIY. It was their little promo graphic. And you think, hold on a minute. Last week, we had DIY versus Machine Guns. No, versus Street Profits for the title. Street Profits won. They're not even mentioned on this show so far. The Machine Guns were shown backstage. Pretty Deadly was shown backstage. It was all about this tag team feud, and we haven't seen anything related to that tonight, which is quite strange. Bigger star, says Mark, as far as The Rock goes at the moment, at least he's definitely in charge. KO versus Orton apparently has been made official, says Mark. And he's pushing his daughter to show up. It won't be in London, says Aiden. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any kind of WrestleMania, like say, in an arena. But I do think if it's coming over here, I think it will be in London. I think it has to be. I mean, I am biased, but still. Casper says, Cancino part of the TNA head of operations. Yeah, enjoying seeing that, especially with their little link up with NXT as well. Fun to see him, of course, link up with his daughter as well. Mark says, no UK Mania, I've heard, for Saudi till at least after Mania 46. Yeah, it looks like Saudi might get it before we do. Oh, here we go. Got another one of those mysterious vignettes. Here's the smoking screen again. And a 4 again. Just a 4. No 5 this time. We're not going up. It's not 3. We're not counting it down. It's a 4 again. Okay. What does it mean, everyone? Look, most of us think it's going to be Aleister Black. We talked about him earlier on the stream as well and how we'd like to see him back. But what does that mean? Is it a return to the Four Horsemen? Is that what we're seeing? All right, back to the action. Liv Morgan is out, ready for a match, being accompanied to the ring by her tag team partner and tag team champion colleague, Raquel Rodriguez. Yeah, Aiden thinks it might be Aleister Black. I think it could be as well. Also says, I've heard Etihad or Old Trafford as potential venues for WrestleMania. But the thing is, or I'd say that more as SummerSlam, because he did, WWE did come and meet the mayor of London, and they specifically talked about WrestleMania. So I think, yeah, it was a bit of a publicity stunt on both sides, but I do think that if it's happening, it'll be here. Wow, look at that picture. It's Liv Morgan painted like the Mona Lisa. How cool is that? That is so cool. That's really cool for the fans, for the production team to catch that. That was so cool. So Gary didn't see last week's one. So yeah, Gary, what's going on is, well, we don't really know. It's a smoky vignette, and then we see a number 4. We don't really know what it is, but a lot of rumors at the moment is that it could be Aleister Black. Mark says 4 people, I'm guessing, because someone said it is Black's part. Black is in part of the picture. Okay, so maybe it's not just one person coming in. And it says, maybe when Man U get a new stadium. Is that going to happen anytime soon? We'll see about that. It does make me think last week's video was maybe put out by mistake, says Mark. Raquel Rodriguez rocking the new look, says Casper. And how cool is Liv Morgan? Yeah. Here we go. A return to the ring for Jade Cargill. Looking forward to this. I think she's got a great entrance, man. Great theme song as well. Good to see her back. Not the biggest fan reaction, if we're honest, which I'm surprised and slightly disappointed about, because again, I'm a Jay Cargill fan. Yeah, there's that latest smash, as Joe mentioned there, and as Jade herself mentioned in last week's promo. Look, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be a tag champ. If I was still here. So Aiden prefers Liv Morgan as a babyface. I think she's great either way. I think she's been amazing as a heel. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think she was good as a babyface as well. Had a great opportunity to chat to her when she was babyface. Do you remember when she first won the title? It was a great time for her. And I asked her about that and just kind of the emotion around it. And she actually got quite teary. It's quite an interesting interview because, again, she was quite open and she was quite honest about just how much it meant to her, seeing the fans' reception and how much it meant to her, seeing the reception of kind of the rest of her colleagues, essentially. So, yeah, well-deserved. And I think this at the moment is well-deserved as well. Different character completely. But, yeah, very cool indeed. Gary's a big fan of Jay's entrance as well. Watched it again. It's a different package. I want to see Jade as a heel. I think we're getting it, Aiden, at some point. Yeah, do you think it is, Mark? It looks right. It looks like Aleister Black. I mean, who else, right? I think the other one was what we saw last week. The orange kind of. Let me see if I can grab up the image here. We saw someone on the turnbuckle, didn't we? It looked like Ray Phoenix. But the one with the 4, I do think is going to be Aleister Black. It feels like 2 different things. So maybe we'll get another one for the other style vignette tonight as well. We're 20 minutes to 9 roughly here in the UK. So we're about an hour and 40 into the show. Maybe we'll see another vignette. Joe and Wade having a bit of a back and forth on commentary, says Aiden. And Casper says, what happens to Sexy Red? Is she still about in NXT? And Liv Morgan is brilliant. Yeah, loads of praise for Liv as we've already given, of course. Big fan of her work. But yeah, Sexy Red, I thought she'd be doing more. Yeah, she came in for a little bit. Haven't seen much of her recently. Maybe around WrestleMania kind of week. Hey, this is, I think, WWE create a storyline like the House of Black. It could be, yeah, especially with the 4, as we mentioned a moment ago. As Mark said, it could be 4 people. Yeah, so the 4 was one black, some pictures in smoke. There's definitely blue flashes. Yeah, look, we love it as wrestling fans, don't we, guys? These kind of mysterious vignettes are what we live for, I feel like, as wrestling fans. Gary says it feels like 2:42 a.m. because of the new times. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, Gary? If you're watching here in Europe, it is weird to watch wrestling at this time. You can't help but think it's 2 a.m., like you say. Jay Cargill's not letting Liv get away from this match, though, bringing her back to the ring. Raquel's been a bit slow in kind of preventing that. Jade hits straight into the corner as Liv gets out of the way. His with an elbow, rolls through. Oh, she climbs up. Jade reverses, looks like a powerbomb. Yep. Go for the pin. 1, 2. Jade in control. Raquel trying to get up on the ropes to distract Jade Cargill. Jade goes for her and distracted herself and hit with a backstabber by Liv Morgan, who looks like she's ready to take advantage here. Throws her, there we go, into the turnbuckle. But Jade hits outside the ring and cannot be covered. Yeah, it does feel strange, Gary. But hey, we're here for it, right? Aiden says, my prediction is Black, Vega, Woods, and Kofi. Maybe after the Usos and Naomi. Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, Zelina Vega pairing up with Aleister Black could be done. And yeah, the New Day of... How mad is it how that the New Day turned heel and have not been one of the most important storylines? Crazy. And again, part of that's because things are so hot at the moment. There's so much going on. But the New Day turned heel. It's a massive story on its own. And they're not that featured. Anyway, sticking with the show we're actually watching at the moment, who is being featured, is Liv Morgan and Jay Cargill in the ring. We're about 1 minute and 45 away from the main show coming back. Again, if you're watching on demand and you don't have access to what's going on at the moment, or if you're watching with ads, let me tell you what's going on. In the middle of the ring is Liv Morgan about to throw Jade outside the ring. She's holding up against the ropes and just jumping on her on the back now. The fans of Bologna are having a good time. Liv's very much in control as Jade scurries to the corner. We're about 1 minute away now from the main feed coming back, but not much happening at the moment. Kind of slow paced. Liv is stomping away at Jade Cargill in the corner. Aiden says Woods and Kofi turning heel. So there's only 2 of them now. And Aleister Black returning. Still in the break. About 35 seconds away now, guys, from the main feed coming back. And some breaking news here from Mark, who says, breaking, Rey Fenix is officially signed with WWE and will be part of SmackDown, according to Fightful Select. So apparently Fightful Select out here reporting that Rey Fenix is coming to WWE. And we are a few seconds away, actually, from WWE's show returning. There we go. But once again, Rey Fenix coming to WWE. I mean, it's something we've all kind of predicted, right? Since his contract issue with AEW. It's something we predicted since his Lucha brother in Penta has arrived. And now that we started to see these vignettes, of course, last week, and who knows, we'll get another tonight. But Rey Fenix apparently signed with WWE. When will he show up? I was surprised even that we got both these vignettes on the road to WrestleMania. Maybe these things will happen at WrestleMania. I mean, that'd be cool. One each night, you know, that'd be quite fun. Thanks for that, though, Mark. Casper says, hope Alistair Black is soon back. He's done in the other promotion, and a return to WWE is on the horizon soon. Yeah, I would imagine so. Keeping him apart from his brother. And Jade is a unit, says Gary. Yeah. You want to meet her down the dark alley, mate? She'd destroy her. But saying that, she's not exactly taking control of Liv just yet. Jade is a very intimidating figure. But Liv is taking care of her at the moment. 2 of the 3 figures. She gets the third. And instead of getting the boos that you might usually get, they get the cheer, because these fans are just happy to cheer for Cool Hill and Liv, and also Eddie Guerrero. Usually they give her a boo because it's disrespectful to Eddie, is the way it's presented, but not today. Oh my gosh, she went for Oblivion. Jade caught her on the rope and threw her back with a beautiful German suplex in midair. Fantastic there from Jade. Great work from Liv to accommodate that. Jade now going for the kip up. She means business, guys. Whoa. They're thrown off and then hit with a kick. Whoa. Jade now getting the fans behind her. Surely Naomi's going to show up. Like, I think Jade's got to look strong winning a match on the way to WrestleMania, but maybe it's next week that Naomi gets involved. I don't know. Jade's very much in control now, though. She looks like she's going to pick up the win anytime soon, but seeing as she's taking some time there, maybe not. What's going on there? Looks like Jade's struggling to get Liv up there. Oh, she's thrown her up to her shoulders, and Jade goes for another kip up. And go for a pin. All those spots that we just saw were cool, but they were very weirdly timed. What's going on? Even trying to get Liv to get... I thought Liv was injured. She's really struggling to get her up. Oh, here we go. Naomi's there. The chorus of boos as Jade was about to set her up for the finish. Naomi distracts by jumping down. Liv. Oh, she's gone for Oblivion, but she's been stopped. Lands on the knee of Jade Cargill. Now looks towards Naomi, but you can see Raquel on the edge of the apron as well. The referee is distracted. Oh! And as Naomi has just hit Jade Cargill with the title in the head. Cruelly, the title that she doesn't hold, but held because of the injury she created for Jade Cargill. Jade's out of it. Liv's got to take advantage here with the Oblivion. Oh, here we go. Lands on her head, rolls through, and it's over. And I think that's exactly what needs to happen, guys. Naomi needs to come in and kind of assert her dominance over this feud as a heel. And she's about to do that further, it seems, as she piles on top of Jade with a few punches. Now, I don't think we're going to get Bianca. I think Bianca probably needs to stay out of this feud for a bit, because she's got her own thing going on, confusingly, with the world title picture. Naomi looking different as well. Different attire. None of that glow attire. Oh, stamped down by Naomi. Naomi looking very different. A very different look from Naomi and a different attitude for sure. I think it's exactly what she needed. Oh, even does the Jade Cargill pose. And knocks her off the ring apron into the ring announcer's table, or the commentator's table, I should say. Wow. Well, here we go. The new look and new attitude from Naomi. Completely ripping off Jade Cargill with the pose there to really add salt to the wound. But good. I think this is what we need from Naomi. She couldn't be coming out doing the whole glow thing as a heel. So, yeah, cool. Why not? All right, we've just got some ads. Well, replays, I should say, from earlier tonight. So let's get to some of these comments in the time being. Aiden says, where's the best place to see the superstars in London? Now, I imagine they're going to do some sort of meet and greets. They usually do a lot of those around. I think the O2, there's a lot going on around the O2, Aiden. So I'd keep an eye out there for a start. But sometimes they do those meet and greets and those signings as well. So look out for that. But I'd say the O2 around there, there's so much going on. You tend to kind of sometimes see wrestlers just walking around. Kathy Kelly now talking to Drew backstage, asking where does this end with Damien? He's called Damian Priest and Emo Vulture. Good impression as well. Drew says he don't complain all the time. He just tells the truth. You can't poke holes in his logic. Wow. Okay. So he's saying I'll see you next week as the only ever British World Champion. And he's bumped into Seth Rollins backstage. What's this about? Why? Unrelated. Maybe just a way to bring Seth in. What a jacket Seth's wearing, by the way, and those glasses. Got to try some of them. I assume that is the next thing we're going to see. Yeah, we go. We're getting an advert for it tonight as well. For it now as well, I should say. Seth, Roman, and Punk under one roof. Now, talking to Seth's amazing fashion sense. If you haven't already, you can check out the channel feature that I did where I dressed up as Seth Rollins. That's right. I tried on Seth Rollins' suits on this very channel. I've seen a little highlight of last week's show where Street Profits became the tag champs. Says up next. So it looks like we are going to hear from the Street Profits or at least see them in action. And again, if you want to see our reaction to that from last week, we've got our watch along. You can see my instant reaction to it as well with the instant reaction review from last week. Don't worry, guys. We are also going to hit you with an instant reaction review straight after this show when we break down everything that happened tonight. We did one as well for Monday Night Raw the other day. But we are also going to be back as this show ends for the SmackDown Instant Reaction Review. Let's get to some more of these comments as we make our way into the break. Casper says, it's a shame that Motor City Machine Guns aren't bigger than they are. I love the guns and looking forward to getting them as a tag team as DLC on 2K25. Yeah, I'd like to. Again, I mentioned before, I've not really played the games recently, but when you hear certain wrestlers, I'm like, oh, I'd like to play as them. Yeah, I love the Machine Guns. They've had a good run so far, to be fair. I think it's tough because these titles haven't been featured on PLEs, really. And yeah, I would have expected them to show up tonight. Maybe they will. Maybe that's what we'll see next. But yeah, generally speaking, it seems like this European tour has been one that they've managed kind of talent by switching them around quite a bit. So we're not seeing the same things each week, which you can argue there's good and bad about that. We're 2 minutes away from the show coming back on air, by the way, guys. At the moment, we're just getting those promo shots at the moment. Again, we'll let you know if anything interesting happens. I doubt it, but we'll be back in 2 minutes on the live feed. Gary says that looks so strange. What the heck was that? Aiden made a cup of coffee. Turns out, no, it was just a cup of tea. Well, I appreciate that, mate. I'm not a coffee fan myself, so I'd be all about the teas if I weren't on the beers. Mark says, nah, for me, they need to say Bianca knew about it. Yeah, me too, mate. I've been saying it for months. I think Bianca's got to be in on it, and I think she will be. And I think we might even find that out at WrestleMania. But we'll see. Again, as we get closer to WrestleMania, I'm sure we'll speculate even further. Casper says, always want the Motor City Machine Guns. They're great in my opinion. Wanting them in WWE for years now. Look, I never expected them to come to WWE, so I'm glad they have. Glad to have a mix, says Casper. And yeah, good to see them here in WWE. Caution tape as the attire, says Aiden. Yeah, very different, of course, what we saw for Naomi just there. Mark says, I like to tell people she told her like not to tell people she told her, but it to where Bianca knew but kept it a secret. Yeah, I think as well. I think Bianca was in on it. I think she was part of it. But then again, how do you explain that promo between her and Naomi that was so good? They'd have to in character say, oh, that was a lie. So, but once the dust is settled on that, they can. Aiden says, obviously, I don't sound like I'm stalking. I get you. Yeah, of course. If you are going to a show, guys, be respectful. If the superstars are just going about their business, try and stay away from them. But yeah, there are official meet and greets that you can go to. And yeah, hopefully you have a good time in London, Aiden. Mark says, OMG, I've just rewatched it again. Next to the 4, there was a... Really? Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe there'll all be kind of more numbers added next week then. Gary says, when Jade tried to live up, it looked so straight. Yeah, I agree. It looked really weird. It's like Liv didn't want to get... I thought Liv was injured. I really did. Mark says, name is gear is a reference to Owen Hart. It looked a lot like Owen Hart's gear, actually. Good point. Do you think it is a direct reference, do you think? Or do you think it's a coincidence? It did look like Owen Hart's gear, I've got to say. And here we go, officially on screen now. They are announcing, as we heard earlier on, thanks to you, great community members, we heard that the Slammies is coming to Raw on the 20th of April, which is crazy. Why would you take up WrestleMania weekend? It's busy enough. Like, Raw after Mania is huge. And we've already talked about how WrestleMania week is way too busy. As enjoyable as it is, there's too much going on. And now you're making the Raw a Slammy event. What? I don't think that's a good idea, guys. Don't get me wrong. We're probably going to live stream it. We're probably going to have a good time. I'm probably going to enjoy it. But we could enjoy it at Raw after Mania and Slammies, right? But maybe they're thinking that's the end of their season, their year, and maybe that's why it's a time to promote. If it was me, I'd probably do Raw after Mania. A few weeks after that, do the Slammies. A few weeks after that, do the draft. And it says, yeah, if they saw you, it's good. But if not, I'll leave them alone. That's it. Be respectful, Aiden. I'm sure you will be. 20th of April is the Sunday. Is it really? Wait. So it's not the Raw. No. No, it's not. Is it? No. Is it? That can't be right. Because, wow, you're right. What are they doing? WrestleMania week is so busy. So we're going to have, I don't even know where to start. We're going to have NXT, the normal show. And then as the week goes on Friday, we're going to have SmackDown, then the Hall of Fame. On Saturday, we're going to have NXT Stand and Deliver. Then we're going to have WrestleMania Night 1. Then we're going to have WrestleMania Night 2. So is it after WrestleMania? Is that what you're saying? What? It can't be after WrestleMania. That is insane. If that... Wait, hold on. Street Profits got new music. Are they heels now? Have they decided? Crazy. Only 2 times. Good for them. Glad they've won it. Still don't know if they're babyface or heel. All right, let's get to some of these comments here. Casper says Naomi was a heel turn now. Chamber, I said Jade Cargill heel turn. I think I said Scott. Yeah, I think Jade will turn eventually. Mark says apart from the wording, the style is 100% the same color. Yes, a Sunday. Yeah, April 20th is Sunday. Everyone's saying night 2 WrestleMania. How are they going to do the Slammy? What is it going to be part of WrestleMania? Not a fan. Not a fan. No, get rid of it. Move it somewhere else. Ridiculous. It can't because Mania is 11 p.m. after. Have they set a time, guys? Have they set a time for the Slammies? So it's just wait. Were the Slammies before WrestleMania? Is that what's going to happen? Too much wrestling going on in WrestleMania week. Yeah, look. Oh, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, spread it out. Mad. Crazy. All right, so why have Street Profits got new music? Right, fans are kind of going along with it. Sunday morning or afternoon, yeah, depending where you are. But my gosh, oh my gosh, guys, do you know how many times I've worked on our WrestleMania week coverage and when the shows are going to be and all that stuff? I've got to change it again. But look, we'll let you know what we're doing WrestleMania week. I know you'll be here for it, guys. Appreciate everyone that's been commenting tonight. Thank you so much, as always. Those that are commenting and those that are lurking in the background. Look, we appreciate you as well. And as well as those that are also watching on demand. Let me know what you think of tonight's show, by the way, guys. Are you enjoying SmackDown? All right, Street Profits. Seem like they're playing baby faces at the moment. They certainly look like baby faces when they won the titles. Zelina's got new music too, says Mark. Gary's not a fan of the Street Profits. Look, I just think they've been weirdly represented the last year. Casper wants superstars back. Look, at this rate, we need superstars to get more of the superstars on. A Sue from... Dawkins loves the Sue. You deserve it chant now from the fans in Bologna. Sue. I guess he did play in Italy. But like, he did it in Barcelona when he played for Madrid. He's done it in Bologna when he played for Juventus. Next, he'll do it in London when he played for Man United. Montez giving love to Angelo here. That's nice. Why is he going to turn on him? As a chap. Oh, here we go. It's Legado del Fantasma. As I said earlier, it was such a big part of last week's show. I was surprised we hadn't seen anything relating to this storyline, but now we are. Maybe the other teams are going to be here as well. A bit of Italian from Santos Escobar. Okay, so of course he's very confident that Los Garzas is going to win and take over those titles. Oh, here we go. Pretty deadly. And what do you know? We've had a great opportunity to interview Santos Escobar and Pretty Deadly on his very channels. Check it out when you get a chance. But what they got to say here tonight? Yes, boy. All right, so Pretty Deadly are number one contenders. Is it? So are they calling their shot in London? Is that what's going on? Legado don't want us to have a side. This has to be leading to a WrestleMania 5-way or whatever. Get some more of these comments here. CR7 reference. Yeah, of course. And it says WWE announces 2025 Sammy's Fan Choice Awards will stream live from WWE World. Oh, okay. So I get making it part of WWE World. Actually, didn't I do something like that last year? So this is the thing. It's not that important if we've just thinking about, wait, I think they did similar last year. Make the Slammies like whatever. Mark says Slammies a live stream, so maybe it'll be a pre-tape. Street Profits got Death Rebel. Is it still Death Rebel though? Yeah, weird that they changed the theme though. Rowan man, yes, boys, says Aiden. Another team I don't like. They're a joke. I like Pretty Deadly, Gary. I got to say, Dawkins was smiling before. They aren't heels. Yeah, he's too happy, isn't he? Look at him dancing now. Imagine Montez turns and Dawkins no more Street Profits at some point. Yeah, I think that's been something for a while people were expected. I actually thought then we might get. I hate seeing titles be thrown aside for stories like that, but I felt like it was going to happen, but yeah, it didn't. Aiden says a 6-way tag team ladder match. Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. Who else would we have? So the match is getting underway, by the way, guys. If you're watching on demand and you've got this part missing, or if you're watching an ad at the moment, Santos Escobar trying to have just moaning essentially to the commentators. Match is getting under the way though. Street Profits doing a lovely little handshake. Yeah, 6-way ladder, guys. Who we getting in that one then? I'd say DIY, Los Garzas, Street Profits, Pretty Deadly. Who are the other ones? There's another Motor City Machine Guns. Who's the 6th team though? I mean, you could find a 16. Mark, you've had a deeper listen to what, the Street Profits song? Not a fan? Look, I always think, maybe it'll grow me. I'm like that with Charlotte's theme. I kept thinking, oh, it'll grow me. I still hate it. I think because I liked her old one quite a bit. Ciampa and Gargano. Yep. Profits. Deadly. Garza. Oh, LWO, of course. Great point, Aiden. Thanks for bringing that up, mate. Yeah, there's definitely scope to do a 6-way then. Angel Garza is now in control. Knees into the face of Dawkins. Dawkins now in control with a right and left hands. Lovely punch there. So they've got their own little going on now. Ooh. Even I'm joining in. Look. Oh, no. They missed it. Why would they not? Okay, whatever. The ads ending. We're about to go back to the live stream. Here we go. Oh, but before we do, another vignette. Oh, that's him. That's Ray Phoenix. He's here. Look at him. There's his tattoos. He's running the ropes. He's spinning around there. That's got to be him. We're getting the old. That's him. That's him. We've seen him. We heard it tonight. The rumor is that Ray is signed to WWE. And we got that just before the return to SmackDown. There we go. That's it, guys. It looks like we're getting him. But when are we getting him? We're on the road to WrestleMania. Where do you squeeze him in? Where do you squeeze him in? Casper says it's Berto now, not Humberto. Yeah, they changed it, didn't they? That was unexpected, says Aiden. Yeah, didn't think we get in that spot. I did think earlier on we might get another vignette, but that was very revealing. Like, we saw so much, and it was in between a match that we were watching. If you were watching the same feed as me, you're watching the match, and it cut into that, and then back to the match. Obviously, if you're just watching a show, you'd come back from the break, you'd see that the match would continue. But it's still a weird place for it. Mark says the Wyatts, in time you shall see. In time you shall see, you shall behold, stand in all Galatians. We see you. Remember who you are. Remember what you know. Do you think we're going to get some Wyatt coming soon? I mean, they are the masters of the spooky vignette, right? What are they going to do at WrestleMania? I mean, I don't think they've been on any PLEs, the Wyatts, yet. Gary's a big fan of the presentation we saw there for, again, what we assume is Ray Phoenix. Angel Garza now in control, hitting off the back of the head of Montez Ford. He's pulled him down into a trio row position as Berto tags in, and they both start stomping away on the tag champ. Casper says it's Garza. Berto and Garza name change. Yeah, so they're honoring their it's one of their uncles, isn't it? What was his name? He was in TNA now. I'm forgetting. If you want a 7th team, you can have Tamatonga and Tonga Loa if they return, possibly the Wyatt 6 with Gacy and Loomis. Yeah, what was his name in TNA? It was I don't even want to look it up. I'm typing it, but I'm like, I don't want to look it up. What was his name? It was he was a great wrestler. Early days of TNA. Garza. What was his name? Dive out the ring from Berto. And they're taking the mick out of the old taunt there. Are we going to another break? What? We've just come back. I mean, we're probably still going to get it if we're watching this feed here in the UK. Yep, we do. Santos Escobar's turned into a manager. How weird is that? But yeah, still on the outside of the ring. Los Garza are still in control. Hector Garza. That was his name. Hector Garza. Big fan. Really enjoyed his work in the early days of TNA. If TNA still going, yes, Gary, they are linked up with WWE now. If you haven't been watching TNA, they're doing some very, very cool stuff. They are pretty much working alongside WWE. This is a surprise Angel. How do we say his name? Is allowed to use Garza after everything going on with politics. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's their name, isn't it? It's their name. Because it could remind people of that. Gary says, I was watching TNA when Jeff Jarrett was there. Yeah, Jarrett's not there anymore, mate. He's in AEW these days. But yeah, Jarrett was a big, big part of the early days of TNA, of course. Not just on screen, but, you know, behind the scenes as well. TNA, by the way. Amazing. Amazing. There was some really, really good stuff. Yeah, Sting. Joe Hendry, yeah. He's in TNA at the moment. I said he's probably the biggest star at the moment. And Aiden, yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, sometimes you want to be careful where you can. And WWE, as you say, have kind of, I mean, look, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso have changed their names. Is it Jimmy that's called John in real life? Or it might, no, Jay's called John in real life. And because of John Cena, they don't use that name. So they've done things like that with names before. So, yeah. Mark says, Joe Hendry appears. Oh, okay. I didn't know what game. I saw people talking about that. What game he could be in. PUBG. Oh, what a double team move right there. Was it a triple team? Did Santos do something as well? Or is he just excited? And Rhino, yeah, Rhino was a big, big part of TNA for a while as well, wasn't he? To be fair, most of TNA's kind of existence, he's topped in and out. Gary says in TNA, yes, they're Hall of Fame. Oh yeah, Grado as well. Yeah, I mean, I do think next week in Glasgow we will get Joe Henry. We talked about the other day, of course. There's been a challenge laid out to Jey Uso. It's either going to be Jimmy or Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. And what do you know? Say his name and an interview with him appears on the main Rebellious Noise channel, guys. If you haven't seen it yet, we interviewed him quite a few years ago now, actually. We believed in him from the early days. So you're here on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. But if you check out the main Rebellious Noise channel, please subscribe there as well if you haven't already. Then you'll see some of our kind of archive content when it comes to wrestling as well. We've got a great interview there with Joe Hendry. I believe it's about 20 minutes long. He really went in depth on kind of his career, training as a amateur athlete as well as professional wrestling. Talks a lot about kind of things like mental health, stuff like that. So again, if you haven't already, our interview with Joe Hendry is on the main Rebellious Noise channel, not this one here, but you'll find it linked within this channel on the main page for it. Joe Hendry or Grado. Look, there was a time when Grado was the biggest star in Scottish wrestling. That was a beautiful moonsault there, wasn't it? Wow. What a moonsault. I don't think we'll see Grado or Joe Hendry doing that, but both great stars, both great representations of Scottish wrestling, British wrestling, if you will. It's just, oh, of course, yeah. Casper says, I'm a fan of Andrade. Been watching some Jeff Jarrett interviews on the podcast through Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett. I like Jeff Jarrett as well. Great podcast as well. That one with him and Conrad Thompson, of course. He's a great talk. Always interesting to see what Jeff's got to say. He's got such an incredible mind for the business, such an incredible CV, essentially not just in ring, as I say, but outside the ring as well. And ICW comes out to, yeah, Like a Prayer by Madonna. It's so cool, isn't it? It's such a shame that he's not been able to do that. I thought they might find a way for him to do it at Wembley for AEW. It was great he was there, don't get me wrong, but I thought they might find a way to get the rights to the song, but they didn't. Yeah, he doesn't really get away with it, does he, Mark? I think it's just not got to the stage where a big company would get caught out with it. So ICW can kind of get away under the surface until they kind of promote in certain ways, I'd imagine. They've really jumped on this this little taunt there, haven't they? Obviously, it's quite close to the U, but still great. Good for them. And you need a good fan base like those in Bologna tonight. You know, good European fan base, I feel, to kind of get across. It's easy to get across or be given a chant, a song, or something like that, essentially from the fans or with the fans in Europe or WrestleMania week. It's like the Fandango thing. It's because a lot of fans from around the world went there to see that, you know? Including yours truly. I was in the house when the old Fandango movement started. We were doing that on the way back to New York from New Jersey on the train. It was quite the experience. I got some footage. I'll have to upload it at some time. The whole train. Great times. Gary said, Scott, what year was it that Sting and the old gang was there in TNA? I'd say between 2006 and 2012 is when Sting had his kind of biggest time in TNA. The later part when he had that Joker character. Whoa! Los Garzas are shocked because Montez lands on his feet, turns back. That's a cool shot. That's a cool shot. And all the crowd going wild. That's cool. Dawkins has got involved quickly to come to the aid of his tag team partner. Berto on the top rope, about to be taken down, it seems, by Montez. Superplex. Goes to the cover, simply with an arm over the shoulder. And then rolls over. 1, 2. Only the two. As you see Santos on the outside, on the Escobar, on the outside, looking distraught. Mark wasn't a fan with Grado in TNA. Yeah, he was in AEW. All in, not this past year, the year before. He was in the pre-show. 2003 to 14. Was that the entire time that Sting was there then, Mark? Yeah, because then he went to WWE, didn't he? But I'd say the most kind of significant part of his career, I'd say 06 to 11, 12. And I'd say TNA itself, to be fair, was biggest in that period. I think 2008, 9, 10 maybe is the time that I enjoyed TNA the most. Even though the early stuff was amazing as well. But that's when they looked like they were getting somewhere. And then, you know. Yeah, where does the time go, says Gary. Whoa! Hits the Sue. Dives out the ring. Takes out both of Los Garzas. Montez on the top rope. Beautiful frog splash as expected. It's over. Montez athleticism is out of this world. Even though I don't like him. Gary, come on. You just praised the man. Casper says, I've been watching Booker T, love Booker T and JBL YouTube talking wrestling stuff. Also listen to Eric Bischoff, RVD podcast, including the thoughts on John Cena and Hellstone. Always something to say about it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing at the moment, right? We've got all these legends are bringing out their own podcasts and stuff like that. So it is great. I mean, same thing. I watched a clip of JR talking about Cena the other day, and you wouldn't have got that before. But because they've all got their own podcasts, It's interesting, you know, when something big happens, you go, oh, what would this person think of it? Because they did a similar turn, or they used to work with a guy, or they used to book, or whatever it may be. So, yeah, really interesting to kind of have that access to all this wrestling content. Who we got now, though, guys? Coming out of the car, backstage, it is Paul Heyman. Ah, here we go. One moment. My tribal chief, I think he said. So the tribal chief is in the back. Paul Heyman now heading towards the ring, it would seem. We're heading to a break ourselves, though. Little clip of the old John Cena sucks moment on Monday Night Raw. Again, they are now advertising this Monday's Raw. We're going to try and hit you with as much content as we can surrounding that, like we have done so tonight. Last week, we did a watch-along for Raw. We also hit you with an instant reaction review. If you haven't seen that already, it's on this very channel. You saw exactly what we thought of Penta's kind of ascend towards the IC title picture. John Cena's heel promo. We also had a separate video breaking that down in detail on this very channel. You can also just see my reaction to that heel promo as well. But you are watching the SmackDown watch along. We're yet to see the three men we see in this photograph right here, but they're coming up very soon, it would seem. After this, though, we're going to hit you with an instant reaction review for SmackDown in Bologna. If you haven't already, please subscribe and check out more of our content. If you're watching on demand, you'll find that very video on this channel, the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you're watching live, stay tuned. At the end of the show, we'll have a quick little break, and then we'll be back with our review. Stick with us, guys. Really appreciate having you in the chat tonight. And those that are lurking in the background, thank you for joining us as well. Don't be shy, though. Get involved. Let us know what you think of tonight's show and what you're looking forward to in this main event picture. And it looks like the show is going to end with a triple threat promo. Yeah, Gary, you did praise him, but you also said you didn't like him. Mark says 2003 was there and made more appearances. Who are we talking about there? Oh, Sting, excuse me. Aiden says the people made Liv picture me, Liv and Raquel backstage, and Raquel signed the picture. Oh, the Mona Lisa thing. That's cool. It's a bit weird for Raquel to sign it. She's not even in the picture, is she? Liv signing it would have been cool. Missed in Person's roster says, Mark, where's Andrade? Yeah, where is Andrade? Where? It was used in the kind of mid-card feud for a bit, wasn't he? But yeah, not been seen that often lately. Casper says all the podcast WWE legends all said they loved it. Jim Ross interview said he loved it as well. Casper says the heel turn. On WWE X is the picture being signed by Raquel. Thanks for that, mate. Gary says Sting was my favorite wrestler. He was awesome. Yeah, big fan of Sting as well. I was there, privileged enough to be when he beat AEW All In when he came out to the Metallica Seek and Destroy. Man, so cool. And then the next year, obviously he'd retired by then last year, and he came out. That was so cool as well to help Darby Allin. Now we're seeing a clip here from an ad basically proposing I love all these clips. Basically saying, look, why Triple H is so important. It's so weird because this moment, I mentioned it on last week's stream on Raw. The Madison Square Garden return of Triple H 2002 is one of my favorite moments in wrestling history. Genuinely, watching it now, hearing that song here, goosebumps, like The Rock would say. But I find it strange that they're focusing on that so much. It is great. It's one of the best. I think it's one of the best moments of wrestling history. One of the best moments of his career, of course. But they've done it twice now. I thought they'd be showing more Triple H clips beyond that. He's done a lot. Yeah, I love it. Triple H's return 2002 again. One of my favorite. Mark says WWE doing all they can to get Sting to induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, a lot of rumors at the moment about who would induct Luger, and would it be Sting because of that relationship between AEW and WWE not being the best at the moment, of course, but the relationship between Sting and Luger being one that it seems like they'd want to honor. So hopefully we can come to a agreement. Gary says, yeah, it must have been awesome. Yeah, great stuff, man. Again, Sting coming out to Seek and Destroy. So cool. Oh, here we go. It's DIY backstage now with Pretty Deadly. The Motherland, here we come. Cheerio, mate, says Ciampa. DIY look desperate without the titles, don't they? So DIY saying they want to help, yes, boy, Pretty Deadly win the titles in London. And of course, that means they get a tag title match after that. First in line. Go again tonight, my heartbreaking in my town, my hometown. I'd hate to see it happen to you guys. What do you say? Yes, boy? Oh, they said no, boy. That's surprising. Wow. And now the guns are here. This tag division is so stacked. Because look, we're just looking at Machine Guns, who were tag champs. Talking to DIY, were tag champs. Yes, boy, Pretty Deadly, who should be tag champs come London. And Street Profits, who well and truly deserved it. And then Los Garzas, who've done great as well. And then we mentioned LWO earlier on that. It's got to be a six-way match at WrestleMania. It has to be. Here we go. Guys are coming in to London, England next week. And again, we're going to bring as much content surrounding those shows in the UK as we can. We're also going to see Braun Strowman going up against LA Knight. Yeah. For the US title as well. I don't think Braun's going to be winning it. Let's get to some more of these comments. Mark says, what feels out of place, Arsenal winning with 7 goals in the Champions League, Newcastle winning the Cup, or Jordan Henderson for England 2025. Yeah, I'm not watching the England game. Is Jordan Henderson on? I know he got included in the squad, which a lot of people were concerned about. But, yeah. Look, Arsenal, if we win the Champions League, I'll be over the moon. But, yeah, congrats to Liverpool. Congrats to Newcastle, I should say, on winning the Carabao Cup. But yeah, England 2025 feels a little bit different to what I expected. But here we go, guys. The OTC is in the house. The fingers are in the air. The ones are up because here comes the wise man with the tribal chief, Mr. Roman Reigns. It is 9:34. We're about 26 minutes away from what you'd expect to be the end of the show. Roman's hand went up a bit late there, but the fireworks went off already. All right. So as we have this 16-minute entrance, I'll get to some of these comments. What else we got here? Casper says, when I make a proper Fandango on WWE 2K25 community creations, I'm going to download it. Yeah, anyone out there good on the community creations and create a wrestler suite? Hit up Casper. He wants a good Fandango. Pretty Deadly need a face turn. I think we might get it. I think we might get it at some point. Pretty Deadly singing is coming home. Gary says, damn, Scott, even though tickets are expensive, that would be an awesome show to go to. Yeah, it is. I mean, look, it is an expensive one. I think now that we got closer to it, now that John Cena's been announced, the tickets are harder to come by. We're actually going to upload the video on this very channel about that topic, essentially, from Lucas. As you might recall, Lucas was out there in Barcelona reporting for us and letting us know what the experience was like out there. But yeah, this European tour has brought up a lot of topics, essentially. And the UK shows, I'm sure, are going to be incredible. But the thing is, in the UK, you could fit out a big venue, a big venue at the moment for a Raw or a SmackDown. So it's hard to get tickets for the Raw and SmackDowns at the moment. So for that reason, they end up putting the price quite high. Yeah, another break at the moment. 2.5 minutes to go, but we are getting the tail end of the Roman Reigns entrance. Going to be interesting. As Aiden says, Roman Reigns is my tribal chief, says Casper. Gary says the song is far too overused. What's that there? It's coming home. You would say that as someone from Scotland, mate. It's a joke. It's a joke. Oh, look at Wade putting the ones up. Yeah, look, this coming home thing. Look, we got our football channel for this sort of chat, but I get it. It starts as a joke. If you're an England fan with a bit of sense, it's an ironic song. It's supposed to be about like, oh, one day we're gonna win it. Yeah, we believe. And then towards the end, you actually start to believe, and you sing it for that reason. And then we don't win. But I think the problem is, from the outside, it looks like England fans are just smug. And look, a lot of England fans are smug. And they will sing that from the get-go. I won't say it's coming home in an international tournament until it gets close these days. And it's been close a lot recently. But hey, we ain't brought it home, that's for sure. But as I say, Rebellious Noise football channel for all your football content from the Rebellious Noise team. Tell them to F4 voice. It's never coming. Hey, it's coming to. I mean, it's coming to England before it comes to Scotland, Aiden. How about that? All right. Nah, look, you got to admit. I mean, I don't know what the score is at the moment. What's the England score tonight? Let's have a look. Before I say anything. Oh, we're winning 2-0. It's the 94th minute against Albania. We're winning 2-0. Look, realistically, we've got a great team. Aiden, I'm sure even as a Scot, you've got to admit, England have a great team. And we are worthy of winning a trophy. Will we? Again, Rebellious Noise Pro football channel for that stuff. 2 Euro finals and you lost both, including one at Wembley. All right, don't rub it in, mate. Yeah, 2 England says Mark. 2-0 says Mark for England. Yeah, it was tough, mate. It was tough. But hey, at least we were there. We weren't there a few years ago, and we are now. So, not a big fan of international football. Club football is where it's at, says Casper. At least we can beat Greece. 2-0 against Albania is actually poor. All right, calm down, guys. All right, calm down. We're just seeing. Look, I ain't seen the game yet. Looking forward to watching the highlights because I want to see what tactic. Look, it's the first time of a new manager. It's the first time England played together for a few months, as it is with all international teams. Don't get me wrong, but first time under a new manager, so we'll see. Are you lucky you starred them out in there with the England comments, Aiden? Nah, look, come on. Again, you got to admit, we're a good team. We're a good team. We should be doing better, but we are a good team. Talking a good team, we're back live on SmackDown. Roman Reigns has been handed the mic by his wise man, Mr. Paul Heyman. Aiden said, I'll never admit that, maybe when I die. Aiden, your profile picture is of an England striker. Come on, mate. See, I don't understand Italian, but I understand the chant. The pattern of the chant. It's the old, as we said last week, it's the sacked in the morning. It's the, what else football chant uses that? Chelsea play. Yeah, all right, come on. England not once since 66. Yeah, I know. It's gonna happen, guys. Believe. There's only one Roman Reigns. Here he is in the ring on the mic. So people are hyped. It's special that Roman Reigns is in your town. Acknowledge him. That the people in Bologna do. But the thing is, last week in Barcelona, at the end of last week in Brussels, when they basically said, like, Roman's not here, but he's here on SmackDown, it did not go down well. So these people in Bologna have got to be happy. Mark says, what comes first? Home. It comes home or Arsenal in the Premier League. Oh, what's happened? I think Arsenal will win the Premier League before England wins something. But then again, that's 2026 is next World Cup's next year, isn't it? And Arsenal won't win the league this year. It might happen the same year, mate. That'll be a good year for me. All right, so Roman says, Rollins tried to kill me. It's all right, because in the garden, he tried to kill Seth as well. How's this going to go? This is going to make the match. We got to get the announcement of the match tonight or something. Wow. Roman's just saying, look, I'm here for 15, 20 minutes. I've come a long way. Come on down. Aiden says Chelsea wins something. Oh, I don't know about that, mate. If anything, if the match against Arsenal's anything to go by, I don't think you will, mate. When the people ever truly happy, says Jack from Exploring the Smoke. Great to have you in the house, mate. Appreciate you as always. Guys, if you haven't already, check out the Exploring the Smoke channel. Do a lot of great watch-alongs of many different sports and great YouTube content overall, kind of watch-alongs to those as well, reaction videos. So if you haven't already, go check out our friends at Exploring the Smoke. Jess and Jack are, again, great friends of us here at Rebellious Noise. Jack was a OG member of the Rebellious Noise crew as well. So, yeah, we'd appreciate if you send him some love. Mark said, Chelsea in participation of the Europa Conference League. Yeah, come on. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? Gary says, the tire choices are questionable. Yeah, look, these days he looks like a tin of Quality Street. You know, every week he comes out like a different sweet, different chocolate. That looks comfortable. I'd sleep in what he's wearing. They're pajamas. They've got to be pajamas. Again, I managed to track down some of Seth's suits before. We did a video on this very channel, as I mentioned earlier on, where I did dress up in Seth Rollins' suits as well. There it is. Check it out if you haven't already. I'd love to find that suit he's wearing today. Lovely blue quilted number. A 10 out of 10 SmackDown, says Casper. I've enjoyed it, but I think I've more enjoyed it because I've been with you guys. I wouldn't say it's been that good. It's been good. We'll get to that, though. We're going to do our review in a bit. Aiden's a big fan of the colour. Gary, not so much. Fans singing along to Seth Rollins' theme song. You got a bet they're going to do the same for old Punker in a bit. Look at those sunglasses as well. A bit like Edgar Davids. And it says, I wonder if Sheamus returns on Raw on Monday as he's Irish and a Celtic fan and Hydro's on the blue side of Glasgow. Is it? Okay. Yeah, you'd have to be careful if that's the case. Good to see Sheamus back, though. He hasn't done much lately, has he? Gary says, it looks like got swimmer goggles on. Yeah, they are. Yeah, pretty big swimmer goggles, but yeah. So Rollins is annoyed that Roman didn't let him finish Punk when he had the chance. This is the thing. This could be a one-on-one match, these two. And then Punk versus either one of them could be a one-on-one. So I get why they attempted to do the triple threat, but yeah. I mean, again, we talked about it before, but the Shield situation, Punk's kind of taking the place of Ambrose here, right? In the Shield triple threat. He was part of it. He did bring them in storyline sense, at least. Seth saying we should add another chapter to the Roman Seth story. Oh, here we go. Oh, did you see Heyman's reaction there? He's not happy. He is not happy. He's torn. That's the problem. Huge CM Punk chance. As they sing along. And again, like The Rock, goosebumps, you know. Mark says, in relation to Aiden's comment earlier about Sheamus, that he's, Celtic fan. He's a red, mate. Yeah, but he is a Celtic fan as well. I've seen him in the Celtic shirt. As most Irish are, to be fair. Gary says, Seth freaking awesome, though. Yeah, it's in the name. There you go. Aiden says, the Hydra is close to Ibrox because when CM Punk screwed Drew, he wore the Celtic jumper or the t-shirt. I can't remember. Yeah, I remember. It was in the press conference. He had like the zip-up jacket for Celtic, which I thought was a funny take. Of course, he was feuding with Drew McIntyre at the time, known to be a Rangers fan. Jack says, Paul Heyman has the best face. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it means, though. Because last week on Raw, he's comforting Punk in the middle of the ring. And this time, he's like almost embarrassed that Punk's coming out because he's come out with Roman. Punk singing along to his theme. You got to do it in Europe, man. The European fans, it's a sing-along event, man. It's a sing-along event. Even if you don't sing your own theme, you got to do it in Europe. So Aiden thinks Heyman will turn on Roman. Look, because where else is this going? Roman's got to do something next, and I think Punk will become heel at some point, and it makes sense. I actually felt like that was going to happen at Survivor Series. Some of you might remember when we were doing a Survivor Series content, I'm in an iron about a CM Punk heel turn because of Roman Reigns. So yeah, I could see it happening. Gary says, does Punk and Seth actually hate each other in real life as well? It seems that way, man. If you watch their interviews, I don't know. It seems that way. I want to see Punk on Raw. I love his theme, says Aiden. Yeah. Again, I appreciate you traveling down from Scotland to the London show, mate. I hope you will get to see Punk. Either way, I know you're going to see a fun event. Punk's here to fight. Grimace. Big Chief and Grimace. You didn't even. All right, neither of you beat him without each other's help. Ooh! I know it's been a while since you've been in one, says Punk about the Rumble. Interesting. Jack says, how many years do you all truly believe Roman has? He's winding down for sure. He's clearly on a part-time schedule, which means he could last a bit longer. 4 years. I'm going 4 years. Let's see how that goes. Punk saying about the favor, though, that CM Punk that Paul Heyman owes him. Okay. Oh, bit of a strange comment. Roman Reigns is a bit confused about that. He's playing into it now. Punk saying, look, you've... Oh! That's not... Okay, this ain't the turn. This ain't the turn, but it looked like it was... Punk saying, look, you led him to me, Heyman. He acted like that was a bit like the favor. I don't think that's the favor. Unless they're trying to, because they knew the favor thing's going to keep coming on. There's like, let's get rid of it now and sorry, so we don't have to talk about it again. I think that's a weak way to use it if that's the case. Well, that was shocking. So is it that week after all? I don't know. Jack says they don't seem fond of each other as far as Punk and Rollins goes. They're at each other in the ring now as Roman's pulled away but goes straight after Rollins again. Well, let them fight chant from those in Bologna. Sludge, you've been out for cricket practice. No worries, mate. Thanks for popping back in. Hope you're doing well. Hope your practice went well. Got a few runs, maybe. You're just tuning in to the end, pretty much a SmackDown. We're going to be hitting you with the instant reaction review, though, within this same stream in just a moment once the show ends. If you're watching live, stay tuned. If you're watching on demand, you'll find it on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Punk looking strong now on top of the announce table. Aiden's going to be yeeting when we get to Raw in London. And yes, he did call Seth Grimace. Jack reckons 3 to 4 years. Nothing against him. It's been many, many years now. Yeah, I think the past few years have been amazing as well, to be fair. But judging, just going from the things you hear. Oh, Seth dives on top of the crowd. All the security suddenly just became jelly. Yeah, judging by the things that you hear about Roman, it sounds like he might want to wrap it up somewhat early or even more part-time. 4th or 5th year, says Aiden. As far as Roman Reigns, how much he's got left. Hear me out. Seth becomes the Heyman guy. Oh, Mark, that's a big call. Because that's not what we're expecting at all. That would be a massive turn at WrestleMania if that's the case. Because, again, we're all expecting CM Punk, right? Aiden says, Heyman is disappointed. You're a spin bowler. Well, I did bat, though. Nice one, Sludge. Rollins taken out by the steel steps from Roman Reigns as the OTC chant reigns around the arena in Bologna. Yeah, Gary, it's been a good show. It's been a good show. And now it's Roman who points to the WrestleMania logo. And that's it. We are finishing up with well, that's it. The show is off the air. The Netflix logo is pounding in my ears. But wow, what a SmackDown. A lot of talking points. And again, we'll be back to dive deeper on the instant reaction in just a moment. Just kind of wrap up here with some of the comments here as well. You know, my ears have perked again. Aiden referring to Mark's kind of theory that maybe it's Seth Rollins that becomes a Paul Heyman man. Jack says, my word, will Gareth Dove my eyes deceive me? While Gareth Dove my eyes deceive me. That went so quick. Yeah. Hey, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? It is still weird watching these shows at this UK time. You know, the show starts for us at the moment, at least. It's going to be an hour later next week in the UK, but it starts at 7 p.m. for us, and we are about 5 minutes away from 10 p.m. at the moment. So yeah, strange for us to watch these shows at this time, but great for us to do this extra content surrounding it. Didn't get as much as a kind of preview or build up as we would like today, other commitments and all that fun stuff, but we'll be back on Monday to do exactly that for Monday Night Raw. And again, we've still got our instant reaction review here. I appreciate everyone that stayed tuned throughout the watch along. Casper says the massive finish, a triple threat match between Roman, Seth and Punk at WrestleMania, and Aiden's calling for the same. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're definitely getting that. It's seemed that way, of course, since WrestleMania, and it looks likely. But again, Great show overall, even more fun because I've spent it with you guys, of course. We just to run through the card, some of the big moments we saw tonight. Jade and Fatu failed to become the more contender, but did have a kind of interesting situation going on between him and Solo as Braun Strowman became the more contender. We're going to see him go after the title next week in London at the O2. We saw that chaotic end to the night from what is surely going to be one of the biggest matches on WrestleMania weekend between Punk, Rollins, and Roman Reigns. We also saw Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. Zelina didn't make it out of that one okay because she had three people essentially beating her up. Jade Cargill, though, did manage to look quite strong against Liv Morgan until Naomi, of course, got involved. We learned that the Slammies is official. It's happening, guys. WrestleMania weekend. We've got so much to talk about that. As we get closer to the show as well. Aiden says, I'm going to be in my Scotland top on Monday. So anyone going to the show in London, look out for Aiden. And again, remember, Aiden is going to be posting some of his photographs from his trip to London as well on Instagram. So again, for those that joined us on SmackDown, on the Raw show, I should say, you know exactly what I'm talking about now. But that has been it for the watch along experience, guys. We're going to be back in just a moment for our instant reaction review to SmackDown. Seeing some of your reviews coming in now. Casper says he would say probably change it to maybe a 7 out of 10 for SmackDown. Yeah, I'd get close to that. Yeah, probably 6 or 7 for me. But hey, I don't want to give you too much because again, I'll break down the show in more detail very soon as we get into the instant reaction review. Big thank you to Jack who thanks us. Thank you for joining us, mate. Great to have you in the house as always. But again, if you're watching live at the moment, stay tuned, guys. We're going to be live on this very stream. We're going to be breaking down SmackDown in kind of further detail and talk about all the highlights and all the big things that we've seen, from tonight's show. For now, though, we are going to start wrapping up on the watch along part of this show. If you are watching on demand, then you can jump straight into the stream on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel anyway. But those joining us live, stay tuned and you will get here. You will get the instant reaction in just a moment. Gary's hopping out. Aiden, yeah. Anticlimactic. Didn't really like that. Yeah, it was a weird one. It was a weird way to end the show. Hyped, but also kind of, it did feel lacking in a little bit, didn't it? All right, look, I won't say too much. We're going to be back for the instant reaction review in just a moment. Stay tuned. See you in a moment.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, so welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here for the watch along. Well, we are here, I should say, We are here for the instant reaction review of WWE SmackDown on the 21st of March 2025. And it was quite an interesting show coming live from Bologna. It felt like, I got to say, for the most part, it felt a bit house showy. And I think this is something we've talked about a little bit already on this European tour. Understandable, right? The audience is excited. They are kind of taking on anything they can get in some ways. And then at the same time, the crew is split over a tour. But I've got to say, it was enjoyable. Got a few comments here coming in already from Aiden. Says it was short because they built it up like it would last about 30 minutes. Referring to the end of the show, of course, we did see the climax there with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. But it wasn't as long as they kind of made out. I mean, Roman said, look, I'm here for 15, 20 minutes. It probably ended up being 15, 20 minutes, to be honest. But it felt like not a lot happened. It was just like they fought. But I don't know what else they could have done, to be honest. Like, they were going to attack each other, and that's pretty much it. And that's what they did. That was the end of the show. It was, again, overall quite an enjoyable show. But let's start at the very beginning. Let's go back to the start of the evening. It started out with an entrance from Randy Orton. As you would expect, the fans of Bologna are very excited to see him, sing along to his theme song. He goes to say something. Kevin Owens comes out straight away. Kevin Owens basically says, look, we should be a tag team again. We should be going after the titles. We got close last time. Look, you're becoming something you don't want to be. You should understand that I've been going for a lot lately, and I've just been attacking people, including you. Sorry about that, but I still hate Cody. But you're fine, and you should understand that more than anyone. Didn't really work, you know. He didn't win over Randy Orton with those kind of comments. Randy Orton basically said, look, I want to punt you. We're not going to be a tag team anymore. And basically said, look, me and you at WrestleMania. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to kind of have to wait much longer for that to be confirmed. They were talking about it on the show as if it was official. Then they said it was. I'm not sure if it actually was. But, I mean, surely this is one of the many matches that we've been able to call for quite some time. I do think this is locked in now for WrestleMania. But, yeah, a quite fun way to start the show. Always good to see, I guess, especially international fans really appreciating Randy Orton and kind of, you know, getting their chance. A lot of these people would have been, you know, growing up as kids, fans of Randy Orton, and this is seeing someone that they've always wanted to see live. And, you know, I think you've got to appreciate something like that. And WWE are very wise to take advantage of situations like that as well. So that's how we started the show again. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, nice way to get things going. Then after that, we got the first match of the night. It was Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso up against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura. I started to think that maybe this is leaning towards a fatal four-way match or something between them at WrestleMania because, I mean, Jimmy and Drew have that kind of crossover. It made sense. Damian and Drew. Nakamura seems a bit shoved in there, but doesn't seem like he's got anything else going on. So I thought maybe a fatal four-way was what we were leading towards. It doesn't look like it now. It looks like it was more about, again, pushing that storyline between Damian and Drew. At the end of it, Drew went wild, beat the crap essentially out of Damian Priest, who had actually picked up the win alongside Jimmy Uso. But Drew didn't want it to look that way. At the end of the show, he essentially took out Damian Priest and just destroyed him. Got very personal with it. Damian sold it really well. His eyes were basically wide open. It looked like he was really, really kind of out of it. But yeah, something I don't think many fans were like super excited to see for these guys, which is weird because they're both great and they both deserve good things. But like, especially Drew, I think a lot of us wanted him to have like a title match or something like that. But no, I got to admit, this week and last week's show really did drive home kind of the importance of their story and made a lot more sense. And again, we got a little bit more of that, especially with aggression towards the end. Casper says, like the Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, agree it was a fun segment. Yeah, good way to start the show, as I say. Always good to see Randy Orton get that appreciation. I think Kevin Owens played into it quite well. If you want to see my reactions as these things actually happened and took place, you can go back and watch our watch along of this very show as well. If you're watching live, it's the earlier portion of this video itself on the stream, or if you're watching on demand, you can find it within the kind of archives of the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. But let's move on to the next kind of portion of the show. Again, quite a stacked one here tonight. Now that SmackDown's 3 hours, I mean, they got a lot going on, right? But the next thing we saw was essentially LA Knight running into Braun Strowman backstage, who said, look, to Braun, LA was saying, look, I'll look after you. I know what these guys are like, the bloodline. I'm here for you. And then Braun was like, well, you know what? The winner of this match is coming after you. But, spoiler alert, we get to it later on. LA does come out to help Braun Strowman. We'll touch on that in a bit more detail later on. Then we saw a really, really, really good backstage promo, side-by-side, pre-tapes, whatever you want to call it, between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. And I think they were fantastic, both of them. Like, they played off of why I think people, like, it's an obvious match to do, right? And part of it is, as Charlotte said, she's blonde and she does a moonsault. She reminds me of Charlotte Flair in a way. But she is the future. It feels like she's the modern kind of wrestler of this, you know, this era for the women's division. And Charlotte, not trying to say, you know, she's the old lady Charlotte, kind of kick her out or anything like that, but she is coming towards the end of her being the new generation, or the current generation at least, you know, the 4 horsewomen and all that kind of stuff. So it's that kind of, not so much passing of the torch, because again, I think Charlotte's going to be around for quite some time, but we can see the parallels, I think. Tiffany also brought up that Charlotte was a big fan of Tiffany and supported her. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And basically said, look, the fans don't even want you around anymore. They're sick of you. Charlotte had a great line, which she said they're either wooing or booing. And I thought that was a great line. Especially considering, again, how a lot of us know, or at least feel about Charlotte, that maybe, you know, to me, she's one of the greatest of all time. She's certainly been shoved down our throats. And I don't think that's entirely her fault. So you got to bring her in a prominent position. And for me, before we get into the WrestleMania content, we'll talk about this more, of course, as WrestleMania gets closer. But for me, it should be a victory for Tiffany Stratton, kind of highlighting that she is this new era. And I don't think that damages Charlotte Flair either. Casper really enjoyed the fun first match as well. It says Braun and LA Knight backstage was also a fun segment. Charlotte and Tiffany was also fun as well. Yeah, I think they really, really, as I say, sold this match. Again, it's an obvious one, and I'm fine with it. I know some people are going to be looking at the Charlotte match being like, oh, really, again, in the big match, title match. If she wins it, I'll feel like that. But I don't know. Maybe I was going to say, I don't think she will win it very confidently, but you never know with WWE. Maybe she will. Then we got the match we kind of referred to earlier on. It was Jade Fatu versus Braun Strowman. Now, this was a match that I think, again, could be a WrestleMania match, but no, they put it on SmackDown. Now, was it a good match? It was okay. It definitely weren't WrestleMania worthy. It was a match that was won by DQ, essentially by Braun Strowman. He won because Solo Sikoa got involved. And I've got to say, and I'll say this for all the matches tonight, none of them blew me away. None of them were as good as last week in Barcelona, and none of them were as good as I think what we saw on Raw as well. I still think out of the 3 shows so far on the European Tour, Barcelona has been the best one. But it was decent. It was storyline progression. It's what you needed in that sense as well. So what we got essentially was Jacob getting slowly back into control, but Solo and Tangaloa, Tamatonga, I should say, Tangaloa is still out, were maybe not as convinced. And they jumped in. They attacked Braun Strowman, to which Jacob was very upset about. And you saw this in a backstage segment later on. Really, really angry, essentially, at Solo for this, and didn't hide that, by the way. So I do wonder where we're going to go with these guys. Is it going to get to a match between them two at WrestleMania? It feels too soon. The card is already looking stacked. Or is Jacob going to just find his way into this US title picture? Because I don't see next week being a win for Braun Strowman. I don't see him coming out of the O2 with the US title. Exploring Spoke, Jack says, fun show, but nothing mind-blowing. I agree. Yeah, again, like, it felt like if I was there in Bologna, I'd be happy but I wouldn't feel like I saw anything important. And sometimes that's how it is for SmackDowns. That's just, we'll get you to the next week, essentially. It doesn't always have to be big stuff, but I do think the Barcelona show had a lot more going for it. And again, Raw as well. Even with the kind of confusion around some of the John Cena stuff, I still think it was quite enjoyable. Casper says Braun versus Jacob was just okay. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And again, for the most part, I think this show was just okay when it came to the matches. There were fun things. There was storyline progression that we hoped we would see. And I think it was about time we bloody saw as well. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was kind of mind-blowing stuff or anything like that. Next up, though, we had Jade Cargill going up against Liv Morgan. Now, Liv Morgan, of course, is someone that's been, in the fire line as far as kind of her being put out there as a, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's basically involved with the Jade Cargill attack. It wasn't her. It wasn't Raquel. As we've seen at Elimination Chamber, it was Naomi. Now, we're seeing these guys still get back into that feud because they're kind of, even though they're like, yeah, we didn't do it, but we still hate you, basically, is what we saw on SmackDown last week. Jade Cargill quite annoyed. This was her debut, not a debut, a return, I should say, since the injury. And again, another one where I was like, good match. It didn't blow me away, though. This is another one that ended in shenanigans. Quite fun kind of storytelling between the two of them. Quite, fun as far as kind of the moves we saw, like great reversals of Oblivion and a lot of stuff kind of towards the end of the match. But really, it just wasn't amazing. It was, again, interrupted at the end by Naomi, who came out with a completely different look. I doubt she's coming out with the glow stuff anytime soon now. So maybe she should get another new theme song. I don't know. But yeah, I think this part of the show was all about progressing the story between Jade and Naomi. But the match was kind of just too long. Like it was enjoyable, but I think it was just too long. Enjoyed this show if there were some things within the show that you would have liked to have seen go differently. I mean, a big part of this, of course, is the fact that not only did Naomi get involved, but she basically cost Jade her first WWE loss. Like this was the first time she'd been pinned, I should say, in WWE. So that's going to be something that they can play on. That's going to be something that Jade could be annoyed about if she's not already annoyed about the fact she was taken out by Naomi. And then Liv and Raquel end up being kind of super bad heels that take advantage of it as well. So it was a win-win situation, but I just think it was a match that went on maybe a little bit long. But again, it's nothing to do with them. I just think the whole show saw matches that went on just a little bit too long. Casper says, Liv is great versus Jade Cargill, but okay, Naomi interfered. Yeah, again, it was a bit long, but I think they all did their job. They all did quite well. They come across in a good way overall, and it had the storyline progression that it needed. Yeah, good match. Now let's get back to what else we saw on this show. We also saw the match between Piper Niven and Zelina Vega. Now this again was a one-on-one match, but you wouldn't know it because you had Chelsea Green and Alba Fire getting involved. It was one-on-one between the two already, and it looked quite a kind of mismatch, as Gary kept mentioning on our watch-along show earlier on. Piper Niven, of course, pretty much double the size of Zelina and looked like she was taking advantage of her for the most part of the match. And then Zelina started to kind of work her way back into it. But what do you know? The Secret Hervis, I think they call it at the moment, got involved as well. And I'm enjoying what they're doing. But again, it was another match that was like, okay, again, some storyline progression. It felt like a very kind of middle of the road SmackDown for the most part. Like, last week, we saw a lot of progress. This week, again, the tag thing is probably the most exciting. We spoke about that on the watch-along. But, yeah, for me, not the most exciting match-wise. Now, let's move into what we just mentioned a moment ago. The Street Profits decided to come out to the ring and basically give a thank you to the crowd. And then Los Garza came out with Santos Escobar and pretty much challenged them. And yeah, you would imagine that this is, again, leading towards this multi-tag team match, as we all expect to happen at WrestleMania. I was thinking 4 or 5 teams. Now it looks like maybe even 6, as people mentioned in the comments earlier on. Maybe even LWO gets added into this as well. Either way, looking forward to that. I think it'll be a great match. This was a good match as well. Probably, actually, maybe match of the night. Street Profits versus Los Garza was one of the most enjoyable matches of the night. It finished in the end with a huge frog splash, as always, from Montez Ford on top of Angel Garza to pick up the victory. But then again, we saw all that backstage shenanigans later on between Pretty Deadly, DIY, and Motor City Machine Guns. Pretty Deadly did get involved in this match as well. They essentially made their way out to the ring to announce the fact that they were number 1 contenders and that Los Garza should step aside for them. But yeah, it looks like we are going to get this, as I say, 5 or 6 team match at WrestleMania. Then we get the main event. I say main event. It wasn't even a match, was it? But main event, you know what I'm saying? Casper says, okay, between Zelina and Piper, I should say. Yeah, a bit of a storyline progression. It seems to be all we got from this. Street Profits was a good match. Yeah, probably, again, the most enjoyable one for me. But we did wrap up the show with a freeway promo between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins. Exactly what we expected. But the one thing I think we didn't expect was Paul Heyman's reaction when CM Punk came out. It was very, very different, especially when you consider the way he reacted to CM Punk on Raw last week in the cage, where he basically cuddled him. Very different this time around. Seemed like he was upset that Punk was making his way to the ring. But I think that's because he's between a rock and a hard place, essentially, between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. He loves them both, and what's he do? It's going to be a bit of a love triangle, but at the moment, the triangle is strictly business. It's strictly in the ring itself between Seth Rollins as well. He's the third member of what is bound to be one of the biggest matches of WrestleMania weekend. And again, we got a lot of hype and kind of progression here as far as making it obvious that this is going to be the match that we see between these 3 guys at WrestleMania. Again, the big talking point for me was the reaction of Paul Heyman, but it was your typical pull-apart brawl. Now, we've seen a lot of these recently. I know myself and Lucas spoke about this in depth on the Barcelona SmackDown stream about how these can be overdone at times. We've seen quite a lot of them recently. Punk and Seth did one. We saw one, of course, between Tiffany and Charlotte last week as well. Again, both fun. This one was good as well, but sometimes it's kind of too much of a good thing can be a problem as well. Casper says, I did like the segment between Roman, Seth, and CM Punk. It did have storyline progression as well. Yeah, we did see that they were kind of leading towards this match, as I say, and just kind of more, it was more stuff for the promo package. Like, I don't think there was much other than Punk's entrance that caused like a nuanced, kind of response from Heyman that we might look back on. I don't think it's something they're even going to acknowledge here either. I think it's something that's going to be look back on if Punk does turn heel, or as was mentioned in our watch along stream, maybe it's Seth Rollins that turns and aligns with Paul Heyman. I do think Seth Rollins is due a heel turn, so that would make sense as well. So that would be quite interesting to see if it's Seth Rollins. It'd be a massive shock. Even though we're talking about it now, I'd still be like, I can't believe it. Wow, they actually did it. But that was on our watch along. Again, thank you so much to everyone that joined us for that, by the way. It's the only part of this stream if you're watching live. But if you're watching on demand, you can find it on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We were here for just over 3 hours, essentially breaking down everything that happened on SmackDown as it happened. So if you're yet to see the show, if you just tuned in now and you do want to watch, you can watch it alongside us. And again, a big thank you to everyone that joined us for us. We had some great comments throughout the night, and we've really appreciated all the support we've had throughout this European tour. Again, we're going to try and bring as much content as we can through the rest of it and on the road to WrestleMania fully as we get closer to it, as of course we are just under a month away now from WrestleMania itself. We also found out today that Slammies is going to be on WrestleMania week, so that'll be interesting to see how that squeezes into WrestleMania week. Again, I wasn't really a fan of this on the watch along when this was announced because I thought it was kind of shoehorned in, but the more I think about it, I'm pretty sure they did the same thing last year, but that's the point. Forgettable. And that's frustrating. You know, you could make something more out of the Slammies. Now, talking of making something more out of something, will we get more from John Cena on Raw? I don't think he'll have new music. I don't think he'll have a new look. But you can see my thoughts on the fact he didn't have those on the most recent edition of Monday Night Raw, which, of course, came from Brussels on this very channel. Also, you can see my reactions as it happened on this channel as well. Or you can also watch the full review of that show. Of course, a lot of movement when it comes to the IC title picture, as you can see there, Penta as well. Now, one thing I should mention before we do wrap up and get out of here is that we actually saw another vignette for number 4, whoever number 4 is, whatever this is. We saw it last week as well. Is it Aleister Black? I think so. And then we saw another one for, again, completely different this time, what looks like Rey Fenix. And again, we saw it last week, and rumors have been going around ever since. And there are a lot of stories out there at the moment. Apparently, Fightful have confirmed that Rey Fenix has signed with WWE. So you would imagine that is who we're referring to there. And again, a lot of speculation at the moment that it could be Aleister Black returning to WWE with the 4 vignette as well. So let's see where that goes. Casper says, what time is Monday Night Raw on Netflix? I believe in the UK, at least, I believe it's on at like 8 o'clock next week. So an hour later than it was today, essentially, wherever you are in the world watching this, guys. And if you're watching live on Netflix, you will be able to see it at that same time. Again, SmackDown's been a little bit delayed recently. Hey, you may be watching this in a few hours' time from when I'm recording it, because again, SmackDown isn't live. It's on at 1 a.m., I believe, UK time at least. So we're about an hour and 40 minutes away from SmackDown starting in the States. But hey, we're in Europe. We've got the sneak preview. Thank you to everyone that's joined me on this watch-along experience tonight, and also on the instant reaction review. Really enjoyed having you. It's been great to kind of dive into all the kind of happenings surrounding SmackDown tonight in Bologna, and get excited for the rest of the European tour, and also, of course, getting towards WrestleMania as well. I've been Scott. This has been a Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Drop your comments down below, even if you're watching demand, because we'll get back to those in due course. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week for Monday Night Raw.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.